The Earth is very flat.
What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, June 10th, 2021. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. Hope everybody is having a good day. I see we've got quite a few people in chat right now. I know there's a couple of other shows going on, so I appreciate you guys being here. And my wife's calling at the most inopportune time. We've got Mojo Shop, Rachie, Ian Adams, Flat for Life. What's up? Carlos 888, Page 42, Will Gaston, Beyond the Imaginary Shed, Scam the Line, Chrissy Heavey, My Two Cents, Rune Thorson, Bill G, and Page 42, who was first but elected to give her trophy to Bill for the day. Very, very nice of you. And we've got Ranty, who just hopped in. What's up, man? Yeah, he decided to stop in for show 100. No, man, this is show 99.5. The reason I numbered it 99.5 is because I wanted to have show 100 on Friday. So I kind of cheated. But what the hell? We probably missed one along the way, right? One was cut short. I think I had audio problems one time and had to end early once. So we'll just mash that together, call that half a show. This is the second half of that show. So this is a bonus show. That's what we'll think of it as. This is a bonus show before show 100, which is tomorrow night. So that should be fun. Hopefully some old friends will stop by. We'll see. Anybody's welcome, of course. Logan's Run just stopped in. What's up? Speaking of old friends, White's Word. And everybody's here. What's going on, guys? Anyway, Ranty, nice to see you. Dan Morris. What's up, Dan? What do we got going on tonight? Well, you can see the thumbnail on screen. Kind of clickbaity, but I thought we might have a discussion at some point about what the globe means psychologically and what it stands for. This is kind of my opinion of the message that the globe gives you and how that would differ from, say, I don't know, an infinite plane, or there being more space beyond, not space, more land beyond Antarctica, or us being in some kind of weird, snow globe type thing, or whatever, wherever you think we are, how this idea of the globe changes what we think about what we are, where we are, and who we are. I think it's probably pretty profound. And I suppose we could look back at previous cultures and see the difference between what they thought and what we think. But we'll see it. We'll see. We might discuss this or we might not. I always put this stuff in the thumbnail. Sometimes we never get around to it, but if people are interested in it, we'll talk about it. And then I wanted to talk about lasers and how far they can fire. Lasers fire. How far you can shoot a laser through the atmosphere. And what is the limiting factors for that? I've got a couple of questions, so hopefully one of these big brain people can help me figure that out. But anyway, let's go into Discord. I see a couple people are in there, and get it started.
So I suppose it has...
Oh, one other thing. I finally figured out how to do custom messages for the Streamlabs. So if anybody donates through Streamlabs, I've got custom messages there too. And if anybody has like a video or something that they want me to use for that, I don't know what the limitation are, but I think there's a few seconds for like a GIF or whatever. If anybody's interested in that, you can send me something. Or if you think of a good clip that would be cool to put there, let me know. But it's customized now, finally. It only takes me about 6 months to get around to stuff,
All right. Yeah, because they really got fucked up today, and they're in a jam right now with this speed of light thing, big time.
What's up, guys?
Dude, they have no clue what they're talking about on any topic ever. Even if say if the world was a globe, it actually was, and something came about to prove
What's
it.
up, Brandon?
Those guys would be the last to know. They would be completely clueless.
What's up, Brandon?
What's up,
What's
guys?
up, Brandon?
That was pretty funny, Crip. What are you guys talking about? They got jammed up with the speed of light thing. What's going on? Is there some fallout over in Gems or something, Jeremy?
I mean, how do you? Well, I mean, we had a little talk about it, but how do you find the speed of something? You do distance over time, A to B.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to find the speed of light, which they say is a constant, you know, when we do, they say it's a constant and it doesn't change. However, when we measure the speed from A to B, we measure it that it's not a constant; it's a different speed. Like they're not using their own shit right.
Yeah, good point. Because then that was kind of like what Kosho was saying the other night, where he said, well, no, it's not going a different distance. It's making more stops along the way. And then he said, you know, like Santa Claus, he has to go from New York to London and hit every house, but he's not going a different distance, which didn't make any fucking sense to me whatsoever. So if you're going from A to B and it takes you longer one time than it does another time, in my book, that means you went slower.
Yeah, that's the formula. Your speed changed. Yes, of course, you went slower. You're going slower or faster. Your speed changed due to from the formula of distance over time or whatever it is.
Yeah. So if we want to redefine what the formula for speed is and what it means to go slower and faster, we probably should talk about that. But you know, if not, start making some sense. Doesn't make any sense. Does anybody understand what they're trying to say?
They're trying to preserve Einstein. Listen, everything is about Einstein, bro. I told you like the other day in DMs. It's all to save Einstein.
Chaiki knows. Ask Chaiki.
No, go on. You're doing good.
Even Chaiki agrees. But Chaiki, do you understand?
I'm counting days. I'm counting days.
You know, it's
how
all
many
they have
times you say day?
Sorry, say one more time.
He's counting. He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's doing a Santa Claus type event.
Yeah,
he's got a list of all the days.
I still want to do that Santa Claus parody I was talking about one time. Remember a long time ago?
Yeah, we should do that.
If you took a group of flat earthers and just replaced flat Earth with Santa Claus, you'd have the Globers arguing for Santa Claus exists, and we would be arguing, no, it's all a big hoax. They're lying to us.
We'd have to tie it into the globe somehow to get them to argue. Well, everything ties into the globe for them. What am I talking about?
Well, it has been said that the heliocentric globe model is basically Santa Claus for adults.
Pretty much.
Comes from the same people. It's just it's a little more convincing for the adult mind, whereas the actual Santa Claus story might trick kids. But yeah, it's basically just the you just go from Santa Claus and then you just go to the globe once you're an adult.
And then you've got like this idea where NORAD tracks Santa Claus.
Yeah, you could use that. I'm telling you, the Globers would be arguing for Santa Claus. They'd say, no, we have pictures. Why would they lie? You know, the little Santa Claus Globers. You know, they'd be making all the argument. We got pictures. We got the NORAD satellite tracker. The presents are there. The cookies are missing in the milk. I heard something on the roof. You know, all kinds of shit they'd be arguing for, the Santa Claus Glober kids.
It is strange. Like, I mean, like,
I was laughing that entire time.
Looking back on it, it is strange that like somebody has convinced virtually all of the parents of like, you know, today's modern world, the first world countries, to just brutally lie to their kids. It's amazing. It's like, just lie to your kids. And I know that they say, oh, it's Santa Claus, it's fun. They're trying to make it like it's okay. But on a core level, it's not okay to lie to your children. It's just, in my opinion, absolutely never. It just isn't. It's never okay. It's never right to do that. You could do it or whatever, but I don't think it's a right thing to do. But somehow they've convinced everybody to lie to your kids and just deceive them.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
So my daughter thinks that Santa Claus lives at Home Depot.
What?
Because whenever she hears the word Santa Claus, she says, Santa Claus lives at Home Depot. Because she saw a Santa Claus at Home Depot.
Oh, that's funny. How old is she?
2.
We'd throw her on the Glober side. We'd say, look, she'd be like, guys, I fucking saw him at Home Depot, man. I saw him with my own eyes.
That's fun. You got some kids, Jeremy. You should film that. Get your kids to argue for Santa Claus.
No, we told them already. It's not real.
All right. Oh, they're older now, huh?
She knows that he's
Yeah.
just a dude that lives at Home Depot.
It's funny that like if there were a bunch of kids hanging out and one kid was like, no, I think Santa Claus is fake. All the parents are lying to us. Like those other kids might be like, you're a conspiracy theorist, man. You're crazy.
That's how it was when
Yeah,
we were
why would
kids.
they
If
lie?
somebody didn't know, if they hadn't found out yet or figured it out, they'd be like, "No, man, Santa Claus is real." Because I remember when they first told me, I was like, "Yeah, right. Santa Claus is real. What are you talking about, liar?" You know, arguing for Santa Claus, and then you really think about it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, "Okay, yeah, that makes sense."
Well, there's tons of Santa Claus evidence when you're a kid. The cookies are missing, the milk's gone, the presents appear. You know, if the parents are good, they can make the presents appear overnight, all wrapped and everything. Like, then you got the NORAD tracker. Just tons of Santa Claus evidence when you're a little kid.
Well, and you want to believe. It's a story that you want to believe. It's like, how awesome would that be if there was actually...
Yeah, because you want presents, Brandon.
Yeah, you want presents and you want magic. People want magic.
Yeah, you don't care if he's real or not. But if you don't believe that he's real, you don't get the presents. That's what my parents said.
Yeah, I mean,
There's more-
it goes actually pretty deep. I mean, in my opinion, the actual like inventors, if we were to say that, well, it wasn't really invented. I mean, actually, there's actually some interesting like lore to the origin of the Santa Claus story. It was just co-opted, like most things. Whatever's going on today with these controllers, the people that are behind a lot of these deceptions, they've just co-opted it and turned it into something different. But there actually is an interesting history, which I don't know if now is the time to go into that fully, but it is interesting about like mushrooms and how they grow at the base of trees where they put the presents, and shamans used to like drop the mushrooms down the chimney and then you would dry them on the trees, hang them on the tree like ornaments. So there's actually like there's like an ancient connection to all of this, but it's been hijacked in the modern world and then connected to this materialistic, desire for gifts and presents.
Oh yeah, I
That's
think
part
I
of
think
the-
you're
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
have
yeah.
to give us
And
some more details on this. Mushrooms down the chimney and hanging them up to dry, and yeah, go for it, man. If there isn't another time, or if this isn't the time, I don't know what is. So,
All right, I'll just say it briefly. I mean, basically, like mushrooms, the Amanita muscaria, which are the red and white polka dotted mushrooms, the ones like from Alice in Wonderland. They are an entheogenic or psychedelic shamanic medicine that can be used for healing and so on. But anyways, those mushrooms. First of all, the reindeer eat those mushrooms and they trip out. Like reindeer actually eat them, and then it's like they're flying. Like they eat them, they roll around on the ground, and they completely trip. So there's that connection of the flying reindeer. And then basically these mushrooms grow at the base of trees, which is similar to like putting presents at the base of the tree. In addition, the shamans in these ancient cultures would go out, collect these mushrooms, and drop them down the chimney. And as like gifts for the people, and then the people would hang them on the tree on a tree to dry them, because they need to be dried and they need to be hung on a tree to actually dry. So that's like the ornaments on the tree. And Santa Claus is sort of almost like a shamanic type figure, sort of an older man with a beard kind of thing. So I mean, I think it's a couple things. That I can remember. Or that I'll mention about it, of the correlations.
well, that's weird. What culture was this? You said shamanic. Is this like Celtic, or I have no idea.
Well, I don't think it's like connected to any one. I mean, the Siberian shamans. I mean, those mushrooms grow in only certain regions, and I think that it is connected to some pagan traditions as well. But I don't know that there's like for sure. I mean, it's difficult to really nail down certain things in history. So,
Oh yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. I wonder how much of our true history we lost when we started writing it down and trusting people to keep track of it instead of verbally handing it down from generation to generation.
I think the main hit came when the printing press was invented, because that's when they could really go wild with it. But yeah, once you start writing it down, you just have to trust that no one changed the book, or I don't know.
Well, because
How would you be able-
before there was printing, you'd have to listen to. I'm assuming your grandpa or your dad or some trusted elder in your community, right? Tell you the stories of the time of past, right? They probably had some carvings and some art and shit that they used to tell the story too, but it would be these people whose job it was to keep track of it.
What
Well,
who's
why
tracked
would you
it is.
think-
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Trevor.
No, I
I'm
was
just
gonna say,
curious.
look-
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go.
Go, bro.
I was curious because I think of history and passing information as one of our great skills as humans, what sets us aside from the animals. But I don't see how first writing it down and then printing it out, keeping it in that form, is in any way going to lose the information. Whereas passing it down through, oral tradition, that's somehow being more keeping true to whatever actually happened.
Well, that would make sense, right? You've got these people who write it down, and I suppose as long as they write it down faithfully and accurately, it's probably a good thing. And I'm sure there are histories that have been written that are faithful and all that stuff. But what happens a lot is the victors write the history. Like, if you hear historians talk about Caesar and his conquests, you'll hear them refer to texts that Caesar wrote or one of the other, contemporary or even historians that came after him. And they always take what these guys write with a grain of salt because they had other motivations for skewing the truth. So I don't know if that would be any more skewed if we trust this one central authority to write everything down, then we're beholden to that person's ability or desire to faithfully represent it. And can they even do it? I don't know.
I agree with that, and that's why if you think the video history, like the news or anything like that, that's being reported in present day, I do the same thing as I do with history, and that's you try to get as many different angled perspectives as possible. Sometimes opposing perspectives of the same situation. And you do the same thing for history as you could for present day news, and I think that's very important. Because if you get it from a single source, it's gonna be very hard to discern what the truth is from a single source.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that there was only one source that wrote things down, but which one survived through the ages? Because not everybody could write for a long time either. You had to have access to, you had to be able to write. For a long time, that was a uncommon skill, they tell us, right? Until maybe the last century or two.
Hang on, Brandon. Can I just jump in there? Because
Sure.
there was two things. How do we know they didn't know how to read and write? And who are they?
Ancient Sumerians came out of the woodwork as the first civilization, supposedly, and they had all kinds of shit: math, language, animal husbandry, and you're telling me they lost that in the meantime to where nobody could read and write.
No,
Almost
it wasn't nobody. The Dark Ages. No, the Dark Ages are called the Dark Ages because the people talking about the Dark Ages are the Western world who come from the Europeans. But the Jews, people I come from, didn't have an age where they didn't know how to read and write, and were reading and writing throughout the entire Dark Ages. So it's the rest of the world, actually. The Dark Ages was.
No, I'm talking about 2000 BC. Even your people, thousands of BCs. The ancient Sumerians, 6000 BC.
Yeah, before the Sumerians, nobody wrote, and after the Sumerians, people started keeping records of the shit they did.
Well, how could you say nobody wrote? Has there ever been a time that humans didn't write something? I mean, I'm not saying English language in cursive or whatever. I'm just saying some type of marking, writing. I mean, they're all speaking, they're all communicating. I would imagine writing has been always intimately connected with humans.
Yeah,
since the beginning.
Totally possible.
They had drawings on cave walls.
You're probably, who knows, right? That's the thing. I don't trust any of that. Like what he just told us about the Dark Ages. How the fuck do you know, Kosho? I mean, there was 1,000 years where it just history just fucking blanks out essentially? We didn't make any
No,
progress.
that
It
history
doesn't make
blanks.
any sense.
No, it's pretty clear history of what happened. That
No,
history
it's
was
not.
written by people observing it and the people who could write, like the monks and stuff. But it was also true that there's no written stuff from a lot of the class of people in Europe, and the people who wrote about them wrote that they weren't able to speak clearly or read or write clearly. So, I mean, it's just there's evidence to suggest that it could be totally untrue, and they could have been genius scholars, and their books just got, you know, uh, ripped up or something. But
Yeah.
that's just what the history says. Evidence suggests.
Yeah, I don't trust any of that old history for that reason. How easy would it have been for the Romans to just wipe everything out, or some other culture that took over anywhere between
The Romans
fucking English?
They
Who
used
knows?
to do that. They used to do that. They would wipe shit out. I think there was a reset back then during the dark when they had the so-called Dark Ages.
The communists did that in Russia when they took over, right? That's one of the things that they targeted was throw out all the knowledge of the old world.
Yeah, you're exactly
A lot
right.
of
That's what
leaders-
Muslims. Go ahead, my man.
No, I was going to say a lot of leaders when they take over, they did that in the Americas when they took over and they had these great huge monuments there. They would say, you know, the gods built these or something. You know, they didn't. They would just make shit up.
Yeah,
to
well,
make them look like they were. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's true too, but it is true that people like the Muslims, when they first gained power, they destroyed all the other books, and it's true that Catholics did the same thing, and that's why people couldn't read except for the priests and stuff. But priests in Catholicism and Muslims and everyone else who does that to their own people, like the Russians, you said, they're not the only people in the world. So it's true they did it for their people, but the other people who are watching that happen just write about it in their language and just describe what, you know. That's why we know about it, because other people wrote about that stuff.
Yeah. And
Yeah, but often, more
you
often,
think you know about it. A lot of subjects have like 1, 2, 0 firsthand sources. I mean, we are totally at the mercy of very few documents, especially from the ancient world.
Yeah, more times than not, you're found to be wrong. Just like the Clovis first, the dating of stuff in Giza and the Göbekli Tepe. Like you're more often wrong than you're right.
What's that wrong about Göbekli Tepe?
No, I'm just saying
Well,
it's just. Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
No, it destroys like your whole paradigm. You guys used to say Clovis people were the first ones in the Americas, and you know you said Göbekli Tepe. No, nothing could be built. Humans weren't that advanced to build megalithic structures before whatever date they gave the pyramid or the Sphinx or something. I forgot. The point is, you're just always wrong when it comes.
Sir,
to
when you
history.
say you're speaking about somebody else completely different. That's why it's confusing.
Not you.
I've never
personally,
said those things.
Yeah. Not you personally. The mainstream guys, the guys you always seem to disagree with for some reason.
Oh. First of all, mainstream. There's no mainstream guy. There could be some story that most people who don't know anything will go to, and you actually call it the mainstream. But people who are interested in these subjects, they have about the same. They say they know the same sorts of things that you're talking about.
There's no mainstream now.
The head of
No,
archaeology.
I'm saying like there's not a mainstream person, like a person who only has one set of information. But you can say like you can say like the person who doesn't know anything, or the common man who literally knows next to nothing about it, and they look something up, they find the first thing they say that something says about something.
I'm talking about I'm talking about the guy that's in charge of all archaeology in Egypt. He's the one who said that, the mainstream guy.
Yeah, but that's the problem, is that archaeology is one of those subjects that is known by actual archaeologists, not the people who try to like the Egyptologists that you're talking about. They have like a monopoly on that stuff in Egypt, and actual archaeology as a study is known to be a very fluid understanding.
Yeah.
Meaning you're always wrong. Yes.
No, meaning that it's always adjusting to new information, and it's just like a.
Yeah, kind of like NASA finding new planets. It's about
exactly.
Not as dependable. I mean, the thing that's interesting about all of this is that, you know, everyone in here, we're only whatever 30 years old, 40 years old, however old we all are. So we've only lived that long. So in terms of like having any firsthand proof of anything in history, is literally impossible before the 30 years or however old we are. So firsthand is sort of out at that point, and then you have secondhand or thirdhand information, and it does get pretty sketchy when, I mean, already looking at, in my opinion, the level of deceptions and lies that have already been going on, like, the history books that we all, had to read in school. I mean, how much of that is true? 10%, 30%? Is any of it true? I mean, it just starts to get pretty bizarre. And of course, there's going to be people that claim, oh yeah, there's these group of scientists and they've all verified this or that. But as deceptive and corrupt as so many parts of quote unquote mainstream science are, I mean, looking into like the dinosaur stories and all of that, I mean, how could you, Kosho, claim anything about history and claim that it's true? Are you just believing other people at the end of the day?
How dare you tell me
No.
dinosaurs aren't real?
Yeah, it goes like this, man. Like I said this briefly a second ago, that one of the main things besides our physical features that sets us aside from animals is our ability to communicate with each other and pass down information learned by other people. And so it's completely acceptable for anybody to only go with what they have experienced themselves and not even trust any story from the past. But in reality, that ability that you have is only as good as your ability to utilize it, and that is to discern that past information and trust the stuff that you can be the most confident about, and discard whatever you think might be embellished. So yeah, I trust the stuff that's has justifiable confidence. There's a lot of
What?
Justifiable confidence.
Sure, yeah. Like when you let's say there's an event that occurred in the past, and you know many different contexts in which that story was described. You know the consequences of how that story, how it affects the world today, and how it affected the world immediately after it. And there's a lot of intricacies involved in it. And you can see the things, like you can see monuments from this event or whatever it is. If you can have confidence in something like that historically, I think that you benefit from understanding this past.
All right, let's pick an example. How about
You realize-
pick the founding of the history of the country of Israel, and we'll go talk to the Palestinian historians, and we'll go talk to the Israeli historians, and try to figure out what actual fucking truth is.
Yeah, you can talk to more people than that, of course. You get as many perspectives as possible, and
Who else
you're
is
gonna
there?
glean. The more information you get, the more you're gonna be able to sift out what stuff is biased or not true, and what stuff is, more likely to have actually occur.
I mean, in my opinion, what we're taught, like modern day history, is as corrupt and false as the globe Earth itself. And of course, the globe Earth, most people believe it, and it's been pushed in all the schools. I'm just saying history is as corrupt as that, because in my opinion, the whole drive to do the globe Earth is like this deep brainwashing of the human society to make us think we evolved from apes and the Big Bang and atheism and this whole thing to control us and to limit us to only certain continents, land, and all of what it's done. And history would be fundamental, meaning like, where did we come from? Okay, they have the Big Bang evolution, but also, history would be, for these people, as important to corrupt and to skew so that they could sell their narrative, which we've all been sold. And that's why in school you have like history class, you have science class. It's like just literally going through the rounds of indoctrination.
Who's the guy that did some good work with History's Wrong? Venko, or he had some funny name.
Flamenco.
Vimenko?
Yeah, I think that was his name.
Yeah. I saw a Jeranism video once where they went over that shit. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't read them myself. I think I bought the first one or found the first one and read it. That is some in-depth stuff. those books. I don't know if anybody on here has actually read through those. No. I've seen it.
No,
Yeah,
I
like
just
the alternate history or
No, just there's a lot of contradictions and things that are wrong with it, with the way history is laid out for it.
of course. That's what I was saying. It's like trusting history that you learn in school. It'd be like getting your idea of the world just by watching only CNN. And
So we shouldn't believe what they taught us in school.
No. I said this clearly before. What I said was you should do the same with history and with the news. You should get as many perspectives, including opposing ones, as possible, because what you'll then do is discern the truth from that by looking at the parts of the story that parallel with one another, what fit together and what contradict each other, and where the biases come in, and all that kind of stuff.
So we
Okay,
shouldn't just
like the
believe.
Great Flood.
We shouldn't
Okay,
just
so
believe what they taught us in school. You're saying.
Jeremy, NGO. Couldn't you say that for the same in the teachings of flat Earth in the 1500s? It could be the exact same situation of history, right?
Well, that's when they were teaching the right stuff. Listen, I'm just saying, Kosho, should you not believe what they taught you in school? You're saying.
Yeah, I'm saying that's like limiting yourself to just trusting the world just by watching CNN.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with that. You shouldn't just trust what they teach you in school.
Or in the 1500s,
It's not or in school now. Either way.
or from the 1500s.
Yeah, or in school now. 1500. You can pick a date. Anytime
Okay.
from whenever till now.
Well, if they
The issue is
if they were teaching flat Earth then how come it doesn't fall into the same guides as what's? you're
I
saying
said you
history
can
is
pick
today?
it. Bro, pick a date. Fine. You want to go back to 3000 BC? Fine. Whenever school was invented, whenever date you want to pick from then till now, go ahead.
Okay,
How
then
can
how
you
is it
verify
that
what they were teaching?
Yeah, why
Yeah,
is
cave
the
painting.
history from the 1500s of flat Earth such verified to you? How is that?
You can look
Why
at
aren't you
cave
looking at the same
paintings. So it's
guy?
not that hard.
Well, I don't think
Well,
they
never
necessarily.
made
I don't think they called it flat Earth or whatever. It was just Earth. Like Earth is Earth. Like it's a surface that you're standing on. Up is up. Down is down. Things are level. Water's level. So I don't think there was. I mean, I think humans have always wanted to explore more and figure out what other lands are out there. But until the globe thing came in, I mean, Earth has always just been Earth. You have the heavens above and everything that goes with that, and you're a human that's standing on a surface, a level surface. So I don't think
Actually,
there
not
was.
the case.
The ships that were built in the 1500s, do you think that they were built that way due to the inefficiency of technology compared to today? Because that's exactly what you're going against. The reason why the measurements, the understanding, the knowledge they had of what Earth was based on the accuracy of that they were able to even have. And in the 1500s, I don't care who says it, they're not going to be as accurate as we're possibly able to be accurate today.
You mean for like navigation? I think
Navigation, surveying, you name it.
yeah, they may have even been more accurate because they understood.
Are you
the stars.
familiar with a water level? You want to talk about surveying? Who built the pyramids?
They knew how to
The
make shit flat.
You guys talking about two different things though. You're talking about what people like the common person would have thought back then, and you're talking about what they teach in schools. And I'm fairly certain that unless it was some school that nobody would want to go to or some special weird school, any actual thing that would be called a school for the past thousands of years, we're not teaching flat Earth.
Bro,
Like
this
the
is some weirdo
universities.
shit Sean brought up, bro. I don't know.
No, I'm
Your own
just
guys
letting you know,
talking
like that doesn't matter what the common person thought. At actual universities, they would have taught what was actually, like they would have taught the shit that the Greeks did, and then what the Eastern
Sure.
people did, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they would have taught
Sure,
the
though.
accepted establishment model of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, the Greek was a religious
And we
model.
would be smart to not trust them, according to Kosho, which I
Yeah.
agree with.
Greek was all religion. That was Atlas holding the ball up because Zeus kicked his ass.
Well, in terms of the actual globe Earth history, that's an interesting topic. I mean, meaning that like, okay, there's this story we're told today about, the Greeks and that, and then we're told this story about Copernicus, but like what really was going on, let's say in 1745 or 1630. I mean, the globe was not proven in any stretch of the imagination. Just to run around telling people that boats go over the curve was not, I mean, it's just getting to the actual history of it. and what was actually being taught in schools, I think the globe Earth was not taught in schools at all in the 16, 17, 1800s. Schools were not even homogenized. They were like individual to different regions. So, and often they were based on, there would be like Christian schools and things like that would never be teaching a globe Earth. So I don't think that it was taught at all. I think they were pushing it into the kind of quote unquote mainstream science of the 1800s. It was being rejected extremely strongly. It was being rejected, and that's why Michelson Morley and all of that was going on. And then I don't even think they really fully taught the globe Earth until, like, not in a homogenized way until after World War II. And even before World War II, they were just trying to push it as much as they can. But David Weiss has an interview with a woman, she's like over 100 years old, and she says that in the 1920s, when she went to school, she was taught the Earth was flat.
Yeah, it's a very sick video that we'll get into in a second. But the Greeks, the first universities, the ones that they write about having, the Greeks having, they definitely taught what the people at the time had actually achieved and measured and all that kind of stuff. So they would have taught what those guys had done. And then the biggest university in the world all throughout the Middle Ages was in Baghdad, and the Indians had gone there. People had traveled to go there, and they certainly taught that, because that's where you get a lot of the surveying techniques, like that they used to measure the globe. So
what did they need to measure the globe for in the Greek times? What did they need to measure the globe for?
To know the facts of the world. To just know the facts.
For what?
And use them to
now
advance.
I'm in ancient Greece, and I think I live on a giant floating ball. So what?
Well, now they used Archimedes, engineering techniques that he learned from learning about the way the world works to, fight wars. So
why would they
use those techniques?
Why would they think it's a globe back then? Because boats disappeared from the hull up. That's how they thought the Earth was a globe.
Because their religion told them that.
I mean, perspective indicates that's how
their religion was that the Earth was a ball.
We're told that story. Like, I mean, what are the proofs, Kocho, that you think the Greeks had that the Earth was a globe? Because things cutting off from the bottom up, it's very easy to replicate that happening on a flat surface due to everything we've talked about over the last 6 years, at least, almost daily in this community about the angle, everything going on. So that's obvious. So anyone with a brain would have known in ancient Greek that things do that over a level flat plane. So how else do you think the Greeks knew the Earth was a globe? What's the story you believe? Why would they have ever thought that?
The smarter dudes who taught at the schools and stuff like that, and went to the schools, like our Aristarchus, for example, whereas everybody else saw the sun and the moon to be the same size in the sky, and would have probably just assumed that. He understood the implications of the phases of the moon and the way in which they move in relationship to each other. Yeah, so he would have. I'm sorry, what was that? Yeah. So he looked at that and looked at how that could occur in reality, and instead of just making just the assumptions about it. And so the measurements he made, about the distance to the moon and the possible distance to the sun, were based on trying to understand truly what those things are doing and the relationship that they have with one another.
That was a whole lot of words for saying a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. There was a person interrupting me. There was a person interrupting me the whole time, and I was losing track of what I was saying.
No, I heard it, but
yeah, I know. Yeah, so
all I want to say geocentric, but you just wandered on for aimlessly.
Well, I just want to say shouts out to David Weiss. He's out there flat smacking Wu-Tang. Keep it up.
David Weiss, he abused that old woman, dude.
He was too. That's crazy.
He abused that old woman, dude.
You think that was wrong of him to talk to that?
Yes, absolutely. He was convincing her that, like, the whole world now knew that the moon landings were fake and all this kind of stuff. She's like, really? What? And she's like,
we do all
really
know
shocked
that's fake. The only people that don't know the moon, everybody knows the moon landings were fake, other than the people that are just still drinking the Kool-Aid. It's extremely obvious.
Well, if they still say it on the news, then Kosho thinks the whole world still believes it. That's what I think. Is that right, Kosho?
Yeah, no, but what you think is almost always wrong, and we understand that.
According to you,
I just told you
because your brain is government issued. That's why.
Why would you ad hom like that? What do you mean?
I'm not helping. What he just said was wrong based on what I said earlier. It was the opposite of what I said.
But it is extremely obvious that the moon landings were fake, nonetheless. And we shouldn't believe it just because they taught it to us in school, right?
Yeah, what I told you, Jeremy. Like, this is the problem. Is you guys hear one thing and you go with the way you like it to sound. What I said to you was, here's one model of the way the world works. Watching only CNN. Here's a correct way to understand the way the world works. By watching CNN and watching everything else and measuring them together and comparing them and contrasting. And that's the same thing with all this other stuff.
Yeah, you gotta be balanced. You gotta bring in Fox News at least, and then at least you're.
You shouldn't discard everything just because you learned it at school. What I'm saying is learning it at school is not a full, complete model, especially with history at least, with actual historical facts. You should probably look at different landings. You should look at different perspectives of the same events.
I feel you. Historical moon landings.
Well, just real quick on the David Weiss talking to that elderly woman. I mean, the thing about that, no matter whether he told her that people know the moon landings are fake or not, the point is that he literally was just asking her about her life and about her schooling as a child and so on. The bottom line is that they were not teaching her the globe Earth in the 1920s, and that's what I'm saying. That there was an Education Act. Everything happened after World War II. World War II was a massive genocide, a massive thing that happened, a power move. Without getting into the details of all that, it was a major thing that happened. And after that, NASA, Project Paperclip, the United Nations, the Antarctic Treaty, and this Education Act that I think was 1958. All of those together, and this Education Act basically homogenized all education for first world countries to be regulated through these government organizations and these particular companies that were writing the curriculum. So that is when the globe Earth has been fully pushed to everybody after World War II, which was a huge reset in and of itself. And then you have NASA claiming, they're going to the moon and all the stuff in the 1960s. And then boom, once they got the quote unquote photo of the globe Earth, people were more or less fully brainwashed and the moon, convinced by it.
Yeah, the moon landing locked it up for him. You got a picture of the globe now, and that was the nail in the coffin for it right there.
Right. So what I'm claiming is that before that, like if you're talking 1940s, 30s, 20s, the teens, the 1910s, it was spotty. They were pushing it. They were trying to get power where they could. They were pushing it within certain science areas. They brought in Einstein. But it was a small thing it was spotty is what I'm saying, the globe Earth thing. And they were trying to push the narrative.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, listen, we shouldn't trust what they teach us in school. We know that. I mean, in the news, look who's making the history now. The news. You gonna believe those guys?
Yeah, no doubt.
Would you trust a private school, a Christian school, when they're explaining that it's creation? Do you think you should listen to them?
No, I just told you I wouldn't. Why are you trying to get me on this? I wouldn't trust the schools, man. I don't care what school.
Talking to you. I was talking in general.
Don't care what school. Shouldn't trust them. Even Kosho agrees.
Why hasn't?
One straw man.
No, you said it. What do you mean?
I told you exactly what I said.
Can I jump in?
I cleared it up again for you, dude.
Go ahead, Dreps.
Let me just jump in real quick. Yeah, and just address what Sean just asked. Because I've taught in Christian schools that are higher minded. That is, they are based on the quadrivium and the trivium. So they encourage critical thinking.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
The quadrivium and the trivium are the 7 sciences, basically mathematics, grammar, logic, and geometry, and everything else that goes with that. Okay, so just all the basic stuff that's rudimentary to education. But my point, in part, is that even though they encourage the students to be critical thinkers, they are still biased as a religious organization because they don't, and this is what got me in trouble, they don't challenge them to evaluate their own environment, their own community. And when I got into Flat Earth and then got into other issues of alternate history and economics and everything, like just looking at things from a different perspective, I went to my kids' private Christian school that they still go to, my two youngest, and I went to the headmaster and I said, let's just talk, man to man. Are you aware that there is, a growing community out there that is questioning the science of the shape of the Earth? And he said, yeah, I've heard about that. I said, because you are interested in a classical model where you encourage students to evaluate different systems, I'm offering myself as a spokesperson to represent and just, present that, because what's going to happen, because I was in the schools, what's going to happen is if I am a Christian and I talk about Islam, I'm going to give a negative connotation to that. I'm going to be predisposed and give the students, a negative taste in their mouth about, we know that Islam is wrong because, right? I mean, that's just indoctrination right there. So what I said to him was, I said, instead of, talking about it from a person who doesn't believe that the Earth is flat, I'm offering myself as someone who would come in and just present the facts as facts, and he wouldn't have any of it, right? None of it.
That's because you're not qualified to teach in a school.
Yo, my favorite part of that.
Hold on, excuse me. Hold on, real quick. Excuse me. I was teaching in that school. Okay.
Okay.
So,
I apologize.
All right. Okay.
My favorite part of that story was the part where Travis almost became a flat earthologist.
Yeah. Right. But my only point is that that even though Kosho says to critically evaluate all of the sources, there are a very, very small percentage of students that are going to do that. Even in a classical trained school, those students.
Travis, you don't do that with your own observations.
They trust that the
Okay,
schools
hold
are
on.
giving them the facts.
If you want to address things that I claim, we can do that in a moment. My point, to just bring this all around and bring it close to it, is that even though Kosho says, to evaluate history from 5 or 6 different sources, my children aren't going to do that. They don't even like school, so they're just going to go through to get through.
Well, yeah, there's only a limited set of answers you can put on the test anyway, right? You gotta have the answer.
Exactly.
Well, most of the kids are just trusting that. Well, this is the school. They must be giving us the facts and telling us exactly how it is, and this is how it is.
Yeah.
That's what I did in school.
Okay.
They taught me
Well,
stuff. I'm like, oh,
okay.
I'm learning it in school. This must be the facts and
Okay.
exactly how it is.
Jeremy, Travis, Gio, why is it that you look at it differently if schools are only there and only indoctrinate people and force them to do these things? Because there are people that believe it's a globe that still do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I can't answer that for everybody. I can't tell you why I started looking at things differently as a Christian, okay? But I started to move away from my Christian tradition 20 years ago, and I studied myself out of my degree, okay? I can't get ordained. I can't get a job. I'm not even a Christian anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But if I were, what I believe now, they would not hire me, even if I promised to be even-keeled and never tell the students what I thought. Even if I just was a catalyst for critical thinking, they would not hire me. So I changed my mind about my own community long before I was a flat earther. So I had already gone up against trolls in my own community who would just act the same way. Hold on, just real quick. Who would act the same way as ballers. Now, I was just ready at the moment in 2017 to hear what I heard about flat Earth, and I was just there. I was in the pocket.
Do you think that private schools that teach religion or Catholic schools, whatever, do you think that they are worse or the same as, say, a public school with what
Absolutely the same. Absolutely the same. They are indoctrination camps.
Why you send your kids there?
Well, I'm divorced now, so they're living with their mom. There's no choice. I would absolutely take my kids out on the road and just disappear if I could.
Why not homeschool them? Oh wait, okay, never mind. You already answered. Never mind. It's good.
Well, okay, but look, see, the reason why my wife and I got divorced is
It's
20.
not
Hold on,
important,
hold on, no. I'm just
You
saying.
don't have to get,
The
you don't have to get
hold
personal
on.
though.
No, I'm not. Listen, the reason why my wife and I got divorced is 23 years of previous personal history. The fact that I changed the way I did in the past 3 years, there's no way she would have stayed married to me. Even if I were, even if our relationship was great or whatever, the fact that I'm no longer a Christian, no way she would stay with me. So, I would have lost that platform to have with my children to then start homeschooling.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But you had answered that already with the fact that where they were. So yeah, thank you though for the answer. So in that, Travis, the teachings of, I guess, flat Earth in those type of schools, do you think that would be the same indoctrination though?
I'm not really sure if you're what you're asking me. Like,
Because I went to a private school, a Catholic school or Christian or Catholic school when I was way young, so I don't remember any of it, and so I don't have a reference of what they actually teach there.
Yeah.
But there are people that that use the Bible as their evidence for flat Earth. I guess my question then would have to be: do they teach that in those schools?
No. Oh no, absolutely
Okay.
not.
Okay. I didn't know. That's it was a question.
Yeah, I mean, even going back.
My bad. Go ahead.
Just real quick, even going back to when I taught history and Bible to middle schoolers and high schoolers, I never even thought about touching flat Earth. I was just following the curriculum that was in there, and we used those topics in those books for the discussions in the class. Flat Earth never came up.
Do you think that the Bible, in its words, would give creed to a flat Earth? Like
Wow.
a lot of.
It's like you don't watch any of my channel. I'm probably
Stop
the
that.
only.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
No. I'm asking because I know you have knowledge of the school system versus, and then there's a lot of people, like for instance, just using an instance, like Lemon will say that the Bible is evidence for flat Earth and what it says. Is that, do you see where that's coming from? I guess I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where it comes from, but I actually earned a what's QE's thing when he attacks somebody? What's he call it when he attacks somebody?
Acumen.
Numpty clips.
What?
Scientific
The
acumen.
numpty clips.
Oh, no, it was before that. Anyway, I went on the Iron Realm Media with Zachary Zabala and Josh and all those guys on Friday nights. I'm probably the only flat earther who will ever in a chat, if it gets brought up, stand up and say the Bible is not a flat earth book. Absolutely, 100%. I will take a kick to both shins with pointy boots.
Can I add into that, Travis?
I have heard you say that, Travis. Yeah,
Travis, can I somewhat agree with you?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you like.
The book of Job says that we don't even need to know what the shape of this place is. It's not relevant to
I don't know that
your salvation.
Does it say that, or is that your interpretation of what it says?
Where were you when he laid the foundations of the earth?
So then it's an interpretation of those words.
Yeah, but where were you when he laid the foundations? Sean G, where were you?
I was in the sack of my great. I don't want to do this. I don't want to give you as many greats, but I wasn't in existence.
He was with the other angels rebelling.
Nah, his people came from rocks.
That was
bro.
great. That was awesome.
You guys
Like
think
that.
you evolved from rocks? You were probably a pebble or something.
I guess the basis of what I was saying.
He was a kidney stone.
When it comes to the scripture, and again, I have almost zero knowledge to say yes or no, but it seems like a lot of it is interpretation of the word, and it changes based on who you're talking to, and that's why I was asking Travis, because for someone who knows it, and interprets it differently than how the curriculum would want him to. That's why I was asking him if it flat Earth is an evidence of, or the Bible shows evidence of it like that. That's why I was asking him.
Adam Meekin says he remembers those shows. Travis.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally. I was biting my tongue, after what Sean G just said, because I can totally geek out right now. I love talking about the Bible as literature. Absolutely love it. I would love to find a spot in some school and just be able to teach, the Bible is literature, or anything is literature per se. But because that was my, I went to college and grad school for it. That just happens to be what I geek out on. But I'm more than capable of utilizing the classroom to have a think tank going on, and I just stand back and just throw mortars out there and just see what the kids do and facilitate the discussion. But like I said, even the Christian schools, even though they say we're open to encouraging the people to think, no one would hire me. Absolutely not.
Don't they have like community colleges that you could
Man, I tried. I tried to get into the Harvard Christian, or not Harvard Christian, Harvard Community College. I just couldn't do it. Couldn't get any feedback. I applied for everything: philosophy, history, English.
Once you get blackballed, you're on the list, bro, and it's over. You go against the paradigm, you're done. We've seen it time and time again.
Well, Travis, your degree is a set degree. Like it's not a widespread thing, right?
Yeah, it's a specialized degree. It's a master's degree in biblical studies.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Then, yeah, you would be blackballed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see.
Which is sad. You should at least make it to the interview stage where they can at least sit down and pick your brain. You know what I mean? But it's possible they can see a guy with a master's of divinity and Bible, and they're like, yeah, no.
Sean, where do you come down on this history thing? Do you trust?
If I was going to give it in a phrase, I would say history is written by the winners.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it. And in a lot of cases, we have found history that was told that is false. I mean, it's the reality of it. To say all of history is wrong, I think that's going too far, though.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is saying all of history is false. But then how do you know which ones to trust and which ones to be wary of? That's the dilemma I always run into.
Yeah, I think that's the dilemma everyone would have. I don't think there's enough time in a lifetime for one person to be able to verify all of his, all of the known history of that one person can know. You'd have to pinpoint what in history, and then that goes down how many rabbit holes of what happened, and that's why I said, history is written by winners, and that is the clear reality of the world we live in.
So who do we trust, or do we just not trust? Do we just realize that it's flawed? And
I think, especially if we're talking like that, the teaching in school, for instance, whether it be teaching in school or listening to a podcast and getting information from it, I think all those things should always be a platform for you to then take on for your verification. I think it's ridiculous for people to go, hey, Columbus founded America, and not look into if any past explorers had and stuff like that. I think when people do that, that's a detriment to the teaching system. But it's always, I think they're all platforms. They're not final says.
Yeah. That's a complicated discussion for sure.
Yeah. If they never taught you about Egypt, for instance, then there would be nowhere to start from to have a clue what was going on that side of the world. Whether they're right or wrong, you now know about that situation. You have at least a bordering idea of what's going on, and then you can go in from there. And the people that are very interested in knowing and verifying and finding out what really happened in those times, they become specialized in that.
Yep. What I found through my life is a lot of these things we were taught when we were kids or when we were younger, like Columbus discovered America. It's a blatant example, but there's been tons of this stuff that we thought were scientific facts or whatever. And the longer I live, the more of those things society decides we're wrong, and now we say, oh no, that was wrong. What we were talking about.
But in a sense, isn't that a good thing?
Oh yeah, no, it is a good thing if we're able to correct ourselves. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Then at the same time, to say that in the 1500s they taught this and now they teach this, it's not a situation of, in my opinion, of indoctrinating. I think it's more of a situation of, as time goes on, our understanding, our knowledge of things become more accurate to the situation. I don't think in the 1500s, whether they thought it was flat or a globe, they could have possibly ever have been as accurate as we are today because of the tools and instruments we use to figure these things out.
Well, yeah, obviously they were wrong about a lot of stuff. Distance to the sun, that kind of things. Everything's been revised quite a bit over the last however many hundreds of years, the model at least.
But at the same time, wouldn't you say then that would give credence to the fact that they taught flat Earth in the 1500s, or they thought it was flat in the 1500s? That could be on the same scale of wrong in history.
Well,
right?
I don't know what you're talking about. Them teaching it was flat in the 1500s. Where was this taking place?
The idea that they thought the world was flat.
I don't think they did though. Where did they do that?
Well,
okay, but then
actually,
what made them think that?
No, but I don't know where was that at? Where did they think the Earth was flat?
Let me just jump in real quick. I'm gonna try to find it because
it had been somewhere, otherwise it wouldn't be a thing.
Hey, just real quick,
okay.
I'm gonna look for the screenshot that I have of a quote from Martin Luther in the 1500s, which I can't remember what year Copernicus was. I think he was in the 1400s, but Martin Luther, the screenshot that I have of him is basically lampooning and just guffawing and saying, this guy is declaring that the Earth is a globe. That's insane. Absolutely crazy. So I'm getting to my stop right now for a half-hour break, and I'll try to find it and put it in the chat.
I guess what I'm just trying to say is if history could be so wrong today for how you're thinking about it, but you're using the history that was thought of from the 1500s to be correct. I just don't understand where the disconnect is. Where is this verification that because they said it was flat then, it's flat now?
I think both would be thought or flawed ways of thinking about it. Whether we said they thought it back then, so it must be true now, or they thought it back then, so it's probably false now. I think both are probably incorrect.
Okay, then I guess the best thing what gives credence to a flat Earth?
Scientific evidence, or I guess.
But that scientific, but you're in the same breath, you're saying that the science that we know today, which gives us the evidence of a globe, is indoctrination and it's wrong.
Yeah, I do think it's indoctrination and it's wrong.
But then how does flat, the science that you say flat, that shows it's flat, so right?
Okay, let me answer that just real quick. Let me answer that just real quick.
Okay.
That would be verifiable with what we experience in reality. So one of the things that cannot be demonstrated is the claim that the atmosphere is rotating in tandem with the Earth. You cannot demonstrate that. All you can do is assert that the Earth is rotating, and like Rumpus and one other guy that I heard the other day, I can't remember who it was, who said, if the atmosphere weren't rotating with the Earth, we would have 1,000-mile-an-hour winds at the equator, right? Now, the reason why he said that is because we know on the ground level what we experience physically. We know that if we are moving and there's not a closed system around us, that we are going to run into the wind. But we don't have 1,000-mile-an-hour wind. So
what if
what,
I
hold on.
could- Okay,
Hold
my
on,
bad.
just real quick. I'll stop. My answer is the thing that and to answer the question is, does the claim conflict with what we experience on the ground level, and can we duplicate and repeat that claim ourselves? And there are plenty of examples with the globe model that you cannot demonstrate them.
Okay.
Yes, we
What if
can
I said I
easily.
could?
That's a good
What if I
answer.
said I could demonstrate, show you a demonstration of how an object and how an object can not be affected by the spin of what it's in?
How it could not be affected by the spin of what it's in?
Yeah. So just like what he's saying.
Can you?
So you're saying that because on the surface of Earth we don't feel the rotation and we don't feel the winds of that would be happening if it wasn't. What if I can show you a demonstration where an object is spinning and we put something inside of it and they are oblivious to the fact that that object is actually rotating?
Yeah, you're talking about the fish in the tank.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, is that a globe with the water on the outside?
That's not all you asked
Yeah,
for is a demonstration of
No,
motion.
it's not the
That's it.
same. It's
No,
not. It's
it
a
is, because
fallacy.
It's a
No.
demonstration. It's a same
It is a
demonstration.
false equivalency.
Yeah,
No,
it's not
false
the same.
equivalency.
It's not the same at all.
What is different? What is so different about it that it cannot be used?
Well, I'll answer. On the globe, you've got a solid surrounded by a cloud of gas that's said to move in tandem with the rotating solid underneath.
Not analogous.
In a
Okay,
fish
so the
tank,
object
you've
that
got
I'm
a
using-
container holding water. Oh,
Yeah.
It's one of the
that's-
worst ones I've heard,
See,
honestly.
the problem with that is that you're. I guess you would have to say, presupposing that gravity doesn't exist.
Why would we say that?
How many surfaces?
Because
how many
the
surfaces?
way it's understood is that, again, the container that you're saying the water is being held in, well, we are contained by gravity. Gravity is, in a sense, that container, but it's not a container. It's contained. It contains.
Okay, so show us the sphere with gas above it in a container, however you want. Show us it moving at the same rate.
You're asking. What you're asking for is irrational.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're describing
was
is
a
irrational.
situation. Because when we started this conversation on this topic, literally what Travis said is that if someone told him if it wasn't rotating, we would be feeling these 1,000-mile-an-hour winds. And because we're rotating, we should feel, or then Travis said, if it was rotating, we should feel it rotating, right?
No.
It doesn't.
Maybe I
No,
missed
you're
it, but I don't.
mixing it up. What he said was there's no observable phenomena that we can point to that tells us that the atmosphere is moving in lockstep with the Earth, such as is said to
Which
happen
it
in
would
the
need to do.
heliocentric model.
We don't.
Sean, I don't remember Travis ever saying anything about feeling anything. What he said is,
Okay,
can
then I
it
apologize.
be demonstrated?
Well,
Yeah.
when you say demonstrated, I brought a demonstration, and because it wasn't a sphere shaped, that it wasn't applicable. But the problem
It also wasn't gas. It also wasn't gas.
Jesus Christ. Again, a demonstration is to show the equivalence of what is happening. It doesn't have to be a scale model of it happening. That's two different things. You didn't ask for a scale demonstration. If you wanted a scale demonstration, I would have said, well, I'm sorry, Earth's gravity doesn't allow that.
It's not the
Yeah,
same.
that's like saying.
It's not too,
Yeah, it's not even the
close
same.
enough.
That's like giving a demonstration of something, and I'll show. It's not even close, bro. We're talking about gas. You brought a liquid in a tank in a.
And thank you, Kosha, for saying that, because it kind of sparked what I should have said this. Well, we do observe it. Coriolis is an observation that shows us that there
We
is
don't
rotation
observe
happening.
Coriolis.
You do, because if you sit,
No.
if you're on a rifle range, and you're going to do you can say no, but there are plenty of demonstrations of people firing weapons at a target and showing that the Coriolis effect is a real effect. And saying no doesn't work, because we can do this time and time again, where you get a target, you set your rifle, and you shoot at that target over and over and over again. There's a difference between a rifle that's not aimed correctly and a rifle that is affected by Coriolis in its target pattern.
Do they turn around and have it?
You'd have to prove not only that this effect is taking
Jeremy.
place that you're calling Coriolis, then you'd have to somehow prove more than just correlate that with your model of spinning ball Earth.
Yeah, just real quick. Understand that Coriolis is assuming it's consequent, okay? Before you came up with Coriolis, it was already believed that the Earth was rotating. So Coriolis is just now proving the claim.
It's
So,
just,
hold on.
I don't like that. I hate using proof. It's evidence of rotation.
No, it's an affirming the consequent fallacy.
Yeah, you're
It's not.
assuming already.
It's really
Yeah,
not.
it is. Okay,
Okay.
you can't use.
It's an assumption until it's being demonstrated.
Okay, look, this is what I bring it always back to, is we have to go back to the major premise, okay? You can't argue for smaller minor premises, which is what Coriolis is. In order for Coriolis to be real, the Earth must be rotating. So let's go all the way back and say, hold on. Let's go all the way back, not worry about these minor claims. Where's the first major claim that the Earth was rotating, and deal with that argument?
Why? I can use an evidence.
Okay, hold on. You just said why. You just said why.
Yes.
Because Coriolis is a minor premise. Okay, I'm not going to argue whether or not Rudolph's nose is red. I'm going to dismantle the fact that there's no fucking person called Santa Claus. Okay, that's the premise that I'm going to destroy, because once I destroy that premise, who the fuck needs to argue about Rudolph's nose?
You must have missed the mushroom things.
You're saying, so because there's no Santa, there can't be a reindeer with a red nose.
That's because the reindeer with the red nose depends upon the fucking Santa Claus.
What it means is that the reindeer doesn't matter if there is no Santa Claus.
It doesn't mean no. See, that's ridiculous, though. Yeah. Now, if you said we're going to discuss whether or not reindeer can fly, that's another story. Then it's applicable to what you're saying.
So
and in that,
hold on. So you're gonna bust my hold on, because you're gonna bust my balls because I didn't say reindeer flying. I just chose Rudolph's nose, bro.
Yeah, because if you're saying Rudolph's nose red, then we can find evidence of a reindeer with red nose. That is not impossible just because Santa isn't real.
Okay, go away from right now and come back when you have a reindeer with a red nose that glows oh so bright.
And flies.
No, wait, why fly?
Rudolph, the story of Rudolph is he flies, no?
And here's the reality of it.
Here's where we've gone. We've gotten to the absurdity. We gave you an example of a scientific evidence that we haven't been provided, and here we are talking about flying reindeers, bright red noses. This is the absurdity that we're talking about right here. You've done a fantastic job of demonstrating it.
First of all, Travis brought that up, not me. Second, Coriolis was happening.
This is how it always goes. Doesn't even matter who brought it up. It'll always end up like this.
Okay, well, let's go back. Coriolis was happening before we knew it was rotating. Earth was rotating. How do I know that? Because we were having wars, right? And I'm sure when people were shooting weapons, they had to account for something, right?
You're sure? Oh, well, if you're sure of it, then
ad hoc.
Yeah, no. If he's sure of it, sure of it, Travis, then that's good enough for me.
No.
I'm sure of it because I can show you demonstrations of the Coriolis effect when a rifle is being shot. Jeremy, you asked earlier, does the guy that's doing this demonstration turn around and do it in the opposite direction? Yes. And in that saying that, the pattern that develops after those shots is conducive to Coriolis. It's not conducive to a bad aim. It's not spread out.
What
So
is
what?
spin
So
drift
so
and
that's your
magnetic?
evidence that the Earth is rotating, is that you're firing a bullet in two different directions,
Okay.
and there's
here's
a
my question.
difference. That's what you need to go
No.
to in order to prove to us that the atmosphere moves in lockstep with the Earth.
No, again,
Sean, what is spin drift or the Magnus effect? Have you ever heard of it?
I don't say proof. I say evidence. And then my question is,
Hey, what's
if
going
it's
on,
not-
Aaron? Shout out to Aaron Moorfield.
if
What's up,
it's not-
Travis?
If it's not due to the Earth's rotation, what would this affect that is happening when these rifles are being shot at these distances? What is making this happen?
See,
What is
that's the
making that
problem
happen?
right there. And you just made it
Barbell.
obvious that you cannot show the cause and effect relationship. So now you're going to ask me, well, if it's not what I think it is,
No,
then
now
you
you're just
tell
playing
me
word
what
games.
you
I'm
think it
literally
is. That's
asking
not how it
a
works.
question. No. See, I
You have a
told
correlation.
what I thought it was. You're literally telling me that my example of this isn't good because. So I'm asking
no.
you. So if it's not due to Earth's rotation, then what is it due to?
No, that's not how it works.
Okay, well, if it's
So
not
you're
how
going
it
to come
works-
to me with a
not how it works
correlation
for
and
you-
said that
if it's-
this
okay, what
this
you just said to
phenomena
me is- what you just
correlates
said to me
with
is
my
it doesn't work that
spinning
way
ball
'cause you
model.
It's
don't have an
rifling.
answer for it. So because
And
you don't
couldn't
have
the
an answer
bullet
for
just
it,
be
you don't
just
want
be
to have
biased
an
towards the movement of the bullet?
It's rifling.
He doesn't know what's causing it because
Yeah,
he
yeah,
doesn't
no,
have a
but
cause and
every time-
effect
every time the
relationship
bullet
to
leaves-
show
I
us.
I know.
Hold on.
I
He
know
doesn't
what's
have a
causing
cause
it.
and effect
Whether you
relationship to
accept it
show
or not,
us.
whether you accept it or not is on you.
No.
But it's not bullet. It's not the way the gun's aimed. It's not a bullet string because the gun
It's
moves.
rifling.
Because you use a rifle mount when you do this.
It doesn't
Well,
actually
but
matter what it
both
is because
curve-
you don't have a cause and effect relationship that you can point to.
Well, first of all,
You
don't-
have a
that's
correlation,
ridiculous.
or you think you have a correlation. I'm not even convinced that this really
Okay, so
happens.
Then how would you?
But
how would
you
come
have-
upon understanding it's not.
I'm sorry.
Then when we're discussing this, the Coriolis effect, what is it?
It's
If you're going to tell
rifling.
me, if you're going to tell me you don't
I've
have
been
to,
trying to describe it.
if you're going to tell me you don't have to answer that because you asked me that question,
No, I was going to
that
ask.
makes zero sense.
We asked you about the atmosphere moving in lockstep with the Earth, and now you're asking us what we
yeah, I
think
answered-
causes
no,
the
I answered
Coriolis effect.
I answered that a long time ago.
No, you didn't.
answered that.
Rifling.
Okay, I can do it again.
Yeah, do.
Brandon, let me try to explain.
You told us
something.
about some
we're gonna
fish
go-
in a
and-
fish
and what's
tank.
going to happen is we're going to go down the same road again because you don't like the answer. Gravity.
Well, that's nice that
Gravity
you're
is the reason
playing
why
internet
the
psychologist
atmosphere
today,
runs
but
in
can you just
lockstep
get to
with
the point?
rotation of the Earth, and that's the reality of it. It is contained. The atmosphere is contained by gravity.
Hey, hold on, Sean, just real quick. Who can you point to that said, I don't like your answer, Sean? Okay, just because we disagree with your answer and then give you our reasons for disagreeing, that doesn't mean we don't like what you just said.
Travis. Okay, perfect. Travis, who told me what it was due to then?
Rifling.
I'm sorry, that wasn't clear to me. I didn't understand what you just said.
Okay, I said what I thought Coriolis was due to, and someone said no. I asked then what is it due to? Who
Rifling.
answered that question?
I was trying to explain it, and you guys didn't let me explain it.
Rifling would have a different target pattern.
Okay,
We've already established
that
this.
doesn't mean he disagreed with you because he didn't like your answer.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Okay, so if I say something and you disagree with it and your answer is no, and then I ask you, okay, then what does that effect due to? And you say, I don't have to answer that. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah,
Okay,
if you
look.
go to Fort Pulaski and they show you how they fired the first time ever rifled artillery, no account for Coriolis, no
Because
account for
there wasn't-
curvature.
There was no way of for the technology to be able
Yeah,
to.
they did.
figure
They
that out.
fired
Oh, they did have
beyond
that.
the
Okay.
range that the
Okay,
fort could
anyway.
return fire.
Okay, Crit, I don't really want to discuss with you.
Yeah, Fort
Travis,
Pulaski.
because
Go
you
to
said
it.
that,
That's
Travis,
because
you were
Sean
explaining
doesn't
that,
like your answer,
Hey,
Crit. He doesn't
yeah, he's
hold
like
on,
your
guys.
answer.
I don't.
Hold on,
Why are
guys.
you just saying?
Hold
Hold
on.
on,
He's
why
got
don't you
us.
just
He's got
say-
us going back to Coriolis
Travis.
again, and now he's
Yeah,
got us
okay.
trying to come up with
So-
reasons for this phenomena he's witnessed because he
Okay,
doesn't
so
have a
what you're
cause and
saying-
effect
so what you're
relationship, but he's
repeatedly saying
created a
is that
correlation
you don't have to answer
to
these
his
questions because
model.
you don't want
And the
to.
original question was, what point us to The observable
Gravity.
phenomena that tells
Yeah.
us that the atmosphere is moving in lockstep with the Earth, because
No,
we
that
should be
was
able to
not-
see
no,
it somewhere.
That was not what the question
That
was.
was the
question
original
what
question.
no, Travis said he wanted me to show him an observation that showed us that the Earth was rotating. It
No.
wasn't
You didn't
that the
listen.
atmosphere is a lockstep. No, you asked me about the lockstep of the atmosphere.
No, that's what he said.
Travis
He didn't
asked
use
me
the word
about an
lockstep, but
observation
that's
that
what.
showed that it was rotating.
Travis, can you clear
period.
this up for us? What you were originally asking about? Maybe I'm wrong.
The original point that I believe that I tried to bring up was the fact that I reject the heliocentric model claims primarily because they cannot produce their observations on a small scale here on the ground level. And one of those examples and one of those examples is the claim that the atmosphere is in lockstep with the rotation of the Earth. That's a claim. Hold on.
Chris, stop. Finish what you were saying. Yeah, continue. Finish what you're saying.
That is a claim that has been made, but there is no way to demonstrate that that is possible outside of the fact of just saying, look, we don't feel the Earth, we don't feel the wind going against us at 1,000 miles an hour, so there's your proof.
And in that, the first thing I said was, you guys aren't going to like my answer for it, but gravity is what contains the atmosphere in this situation. You didn't like it, so you didn't hear it. Maybe.
We weren't talking about the containment of the atmosphere.
Yes,
that's not what we're talking about.
Exactly
we're not talking about what.
Again, though,
no,
you
because
can't demonstrate.
That's
listen,
why
hold on, Sean,
that's why the atmosphere rotates.
You can't demonstrate it. That's just a different claim. It's just a different claim.
It's not a different claim. I can't.
No, he's changing the subject anyway, Travis.
Like.
We weren't talking about
That's
containment of the
problem
atmosphere. You're changing the subject.
Yeah,
no,
I would say
no.
the
You
subject.
asked about the
Sean, come on, do us a favor, Sean. You give
well,
it a
that's
break,
the thing.
okay?
That's the thing, Chris.
Go make
I'm
it
actually
a
the one having the conversation with them, and they're going against what I'm saying, or about what I'm saying.
Your show.
So I'm going to respond to it. Okay?
Well,
so there you go. That's why I'm still talking. There you go. The reason why I brought up gravity was because you said about the atmosphere and the rotation of the Earth. The reason that the atmosphere rotates with the Earth in lockstep, like you said, is due to gravity. Then we started talking about other ways of observing, knowing that we have rotation. And that's why I brought up Coriolis.
You started talking about other ways we know we have rotation. And how does gravity prove to us that, just invoking gravity, prove to us that the atmosphere is rotating in lockstep with the Earth? How is that scientific evidence? Just to say gravity.
It's scientific evidence that that's why the atmosphere has its gradient. That's why the atmosphere is here. That's why what it contains it.
No, we're talking about why the atmosphere rotates in lockstep with the Earth. How we want to see a physical phenomena that shows that. Some scientific evidence.
And then I brought the demonstration, the fish tank demonstration, and that's when that came up, because you said, well, that's water and that's being contained.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you're not going to like it. I said, you're not going to like it, but gravity is the reason why the atmosphere does it this way, because the gravity contains it. And I also said, gravity is not a container, but it does contain.
So that's all you've said. Your answer, the scientific evidence that you've provided for the atmosphere moving in lockstep with the Earth is gravity. To say gravity, that's it.
I did.
Do you see how that's unsatisfying?
I did.
Was that on the list already?
Yeah.
Add that to the list.
It is.
When you decided
I got bullshit global.
That's when I brought up Coriolis. That was the reason Coriolis was brought up, because you didn't like that answer.
No one should like that answer. That's just, you could.
Gravity. Unless you're going to come at me with, so then
why do things fall? Gravity
isn't evidence. Can you show me some scientific evidence for flat Earth?
You know what? We don't even have to. Everyone knows the Earth is flat.
Of course you don't have to.
No,
we don't have
to prove shit to you because you're an idiot, dude. Everyone knows that the Earth.
Who's triggered now?
He's an idiot. He's a troll.
Yeah, it's a sock account. It's some globalist sock account trying to make flat earthers look ridiculous. That's all you got in 2021.
Wait. I'm a sock account.
Not you. Not
No,
you.
that
the
guy
dude
that
who
was.
just shouting like a
The guy
lunatic.
that was just okay, my bad. My apologies.
That guy was just.
You're on a.
troll.
See, the good idea. It's a good idea to let people like that
It was
in, so
funny,
you can
though.
see what they got left.
Everybody fucking knows. Sorry for crit. Go ahead, brother.
All right, I'm gonna go calm down.
Again, Sean has
Alright.
no demonstration of a claim.
I
All
do,
you-
Travis.
Okay.
No,
Travis,
listen,
how about
listen,
I go now.
listen.
He
All-
don't.
Let's
I
set
have.
up a time.
I have.
Let's
He
set up a
doesn't.
time
I
where
have.
we can do this conversation, me and you, Travis, one-on-one. How about that, buddy? We'll do it some other time. We'll figure it out. I'll DM you.
Yeah, right, DMing.
So, since we don't observe winds at 1,000 miles per hour winds, there's two possibilities. The Earth does not rotate, and the atmosphere is in lock state with it, or the Earth is rotating and the atmosphere is in lock state with it. Now,
Let's apply Occam's razor, and then we'll just go with the simplest answer.
so
The Earth's not moving.
if the Earth is rotating, then the
Atmosphere moves
is
because
in
the
lock
wind and currents,
because
heat
we
and cold.
observe no wind. No, because we observe no wind. That means that the atmosphere is in
What the
lock.
fuck?
Oh, dude.
Wait,
What
I
the?
just began talking.
I know,
So,
but you're.
we need an experiment
We do have 1,000 mile an hour.
that simulate this phenomena, right? We need how many surfaces does the air friction against?
What we need is for you to show us gas.
Why? I will. I'm asking how many surfaces does the air
I'll
rub
bet you
against?
won't.
How many
I'll bet
how
you
many-
won't, Phyllis.
How
Yeah,
many
he's not-
surfaces
he's not
is in contact on the globe Earth?
Chaiki, I'll bet you'll keep on talking and asking questions and you'll never show us. Never.
Oh, I will. So,
Okay, well, let's go with that.
how
Let's go
many?
with Phyllis.
With how many surfaces on the
We're
globe?
ready. We're ready. We're tired of the questions. We're ready to be
Wait.
shown.
Shut up, Rakia.
The debate's over. No one wants to
Rakia,
debate and talk and hear your
Rakia, you
We
came
want
to
to
poison
see
the
the
whale.
demonstration,
You
right?
came to poison the whale. Is
No,
that
no.
the
I
Christian
came
way?
to
Is
demand
that the
what
Christian
you
way,
claimed you could do.
Is
We've
that
been
the
looking for
Christian
this
way?
shit for like a year or so. We've been looking for this for a while.
No, I'm not even 1 minute to my.
Go ahead and show us. Yeah,
I'm
not even 1 minute
minute.
into my word salad after I claimed I could show you and would show us. No, that's all we want.
We've been looking for this for a long time, to be fair. I mean, if you got a demonstration of this happening, that'd be awesome.
Go ahead, Chaiki, you ready?
I think Chucky just already kind of got to it if you were paying attention. He said that in either case, whether the Earth's moving or not moving, the atmosphere is obviously in lockstep with the Earth. So he's just shown that to be true.
The wind's going all directions. That's not true. The wind is the atmosphere. Where does gravity let go of the atmosphere? What elevation? What height? What altitude? Where does it stop rotating with the Earth? If it's spinning 1,059 at the equator and it's in lockstep, at 100 miles up, how fast is it going? And where does it stop?
Rakia. That's what's up.
You
When
gonna
does it
show
stop
us?
rotating? When does it stop rotating with Earth? I like that. We've been
Gonna
asking
show
that
us
for a while
that,
too.
Chaiki? That's my question for like 5 years now.
What's the
People
height
like
at
you,
which?
Chaiki.
What's the height at which the gas stops rotating in lockstep with the Earth? Because you
on
guys
top
got
of
the
that-
gas never stopping. So
True. And on top of that, why does the upper atmosphere spin faster than the actual Earth itself?
that's another problem.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. Get off
That's
the
another-
globe. Hey, listen up. Y'all ready? It's not a globe. The atmosphere is not rotating with the rotating Earth in lockstep or whatever step you want to call it. Gravity, as they so call it, does not exist. Get off of it. It's over. The debate
So just
that
jump.
Sean wants to do is already over.
We actually had a Glober in Gems earlier, and he was saying, Newton was wrong. These guys, that's why we're getting rated by all these guys from Gems here, Sean, Kosho, and all them, Chike.
How are you eating rated, dude? We come in here all the time, man. What the hell are you talking about? Don't be a douchebag. But dude, Jeremy, everyone over there is gonna fucking love
Nice
it.
one, Jeremy.
Raid.
Everyone over there is gonna love it that you just brought that up about that kid, dude. That kid Charlie, because you know they were trying to paint that picture that you were gonna do that.
I know. You know what? You know what? I told him that he knew he was going to do that. You know that, Kosha?
Bro, Newton.
That's why he did it.
Newton was wrong, bro. Face it. Even your own peoples are starting to wake up.
Hey, I got a couple super chats. Cleary,
Oh,
$2. The Bible is a 3D book with parallel pages.
Yeah.
I like that. Silent Zero, $10. Good job. That guy is full of shit.
Sweet.
Thanks, Silent
Zero.
All right, that's it. Thanks, guys. So anyway, I did have a question I wanted to bring up tonight. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, my bad.
No, you got something?
No, I was.
Go ahead.
I wanted to go over that distance while we got all the hardcore globers in here about how distance or speed is, distance over time or time over distance or whatever the formula is. But then when it comes to measuring light, the speed of light, they want to say, no, it's really traveling at the same, even though we can measure it differently. They'll say, no, it's always traveling at the same speed, even though the time's different.
That's a good idea, because you and I were talking about that a little bit earlier, and Kosho, we still don't understand. I know you told us about Santa Claus having to make more stops in New York than he does in the country or whatever the hell it was you said. But we still don't get it. If we measure light going from A to B in a vacuum at 186 whatever thousand it is, and we measure it going through, say, plastic from A to B, same distance, at a lower speed, does that not mean that the light is going slower through the plastic?
It is. Let me ask you a question. If you have a motorcycle and the motorcycle does not stop, or your speed, that's something would be speed. We're not on a bus. They can't go below 65, okay? And they're driving around the whole fucking city, and they're having to, let's say they're doing this for a long fucking time. Let's say the city's only 10 miles wide, one end of the city to the other. But during the whole fucking movie, they're making all these different stops throughout the city.
Sure. So I'm on a motorcycle, I'm making deliveries,
There's no
going through the
motorcycle.
city.
I switched to the bus.
I'm on a bus now. All right.
Right. And so there's two things that are going to occur. You can measure the speed that the bus traveled through the city by taking the total distance of the city and then dividing that by the time. That's one way you can determine the speed. Okay, and that wouldn't be wrong to do in some contexts. And you can also determine the speed that the bus was traveling by looking at the speedometer of the bus and noticing that it never went below 65 or 60 or whatever it was. And in either case, both those would be correct depending on what it is you're actually saying or describing.
What? If I'm making a stop, that means the bus is going slower at some point.
No.
Yeah.
There's no stops. There's no stops being made. It's not actually stopping. It's just having to make those. It's having, like, let's say it's like throwing straight out the window when it gets there. It's not actually stopping.
Okay, then it's going the same speed, so it'll go from A to B in the same speed, regardless of whether I'm throwing shit out the window or I'm not. Right?
Yeah, but that's the whole problem. Is because it's making all those different stops, whatever we'll call them stops.
This is worse than Santa Claus.
It's not going straight through from one end to the other.
Do you want to rethink this? Do you want to take a couple minutes and rethink this analogy? Because this is worse than the Santa Claus one.
The same thing I told you about Santa Claus.
No.
Somebody asked you how fast Santa Claus traveled through Chicago, and you use the distance from one end of Chicago to the other, and you use the time to do it, you would get one answer for the speed. But if you knew that he was going at a constant speed the whole time, you could also use that speed. You'd have two different numbers, and that'd be based on the density of that city.
I regret even bringing this up now.
What? Does anybody understand that speaks English? No.
Bro, we got a light going from A to B, bro. Sometimes it takes 1 second, sometimes it takes 10 seconds. You wouldn't say the speed changed?
I've already told you this, Jeremy, about the explanation of the densities. If you're talking about something like, let's say, helium, or you're talking about something like, let's say, lead, and let's say the lead, you could somehow shine the light through it. Just something that was clear, so you could shine the light through it, okay? But it's a very dense material. If you're shining a light through both these materials and you notice that it goes slowly through one, the more dense one, and less slow during the slowly during the more dense one and less slow during the less dense one, right?
Yeah, it's
Then what
heating.
you're
It's going slower,
yeah,
so it's heating,
what you're experiencing is not the light
Is it
itself
heating?
slowing down. What you're experiencing is the light having to make more interactions as it's going through the medium.
Dude, that's
you're
the
saying
same for
that's the
anything. That's the same
You're
for
experiencing
anything.
it
If I shoot a bullet through water versus shoot a bullet through a fucking vacuum, it's gonna go slower in the water. The bullet still gets
Yeah, but
there
that's a
faster in the
different effect.
vacuum.
That's for a different reason. That's for drag.
sounded-
There's drag that's applied to that bullet.
Hold
In
on.
this situation, this light,
You
the
just
light
sounded like
itself, the
Seinfeld.
photons,
I was gonna
the
say
photons
that.
itself.
I knew you were going to say that. That's why I had to jump in. I'm like, this is it.
Oh.
I have always in the back of my head, I'm thinking, who the fuck does Brandon sound like? And that was it. Right then, you're like, you know what you're talking about. It was totally Seinfeld, dude. That was awesome.
That's what I was thinking was Seinfeld.
And anyways, in this case, the photon itself, the actual photon, and its the speed of light itself doesn't change. That's not what's changing. The only thing that's changing is the amount of interactions it's having to make as it gets through this medium. And so you can talk about it in either way, and in both contexts would be correct. You could say the light is slowing down in the medium if you're just talking about its net speed through the medium. But if you actually talk about the photons and the light itself and what it's actually doing and the speed that it's actually going, it's not actually slowing down. It's just making more stops, which makes
It's just taking longer to go.
Down.
It's just taking longer to go from point A to point B. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going
not
slower.
slowing down or anything.
Go show. That is double think right there. I'm just gonna be straight up with you, dude. That is double speak. Big time.
Well, in the example I gave you with the bus, what speed was the bus going? Whenever it took 10 hours to get through the city from one end to the other.
The bus that didn't stop.
The bus is 10 miles an hour.
Is that really analogous? So we've got a bus driving through a city at 60 miles an hour. It doesn't throw stuff out the window. Then we've got a bus driving through the city at 60 miles an hour that does throw stuff out the window. Those two are not analogous to light going through different mediums.
You don't have to use the one that's not throwing stuff out the window. The only thing that you have the problem here is Jeremy is talking about the speed, measuring the speed by using the distance, the total distance divided by the total time. This will give you a number of speed. Yeah, this will give you a number of speed. But if you're talking about the actual speed of the bus, because the distance it actually traveled and the time it took to travel that distance, went from one end to the other, it took 10 hours, you would measure 1 mile per hour.
Bro, I feel like you're denying. I feel like you're denying like math or physics or something with this the denial of the time over distance or distance over time formula.
I just agreed with that, Jeremy. That's the problem here.
So
you're using the total distance. You're using the total distance as one end of some block of some medium to the other end of that block of that medium. That being the total distance divided by the total time it took. That is true to get the net speed of that of the light through it. That's why light appears to change speed through a medium. But the light itself, the photons itself, them actually traveling, it does not change speed. It's going the same speed. If you were to clock the speed of light and get down on the scale of a photon, it'd be going the same speed it always goes. The only problem is it's making more interactions.
So you got gross speed and net speed, or is that it? How's it work?
I'm using those terms because the term I use Santa Claus. I use terms and it's not getting through. So I'm trying different shit.
Yeah, because because what you're saying is nonsense. It's never going to get through.
Yeah, that's the
distance
problem.
Time is whatever speed over distance formula, distance over speed or something. And you're saying that's true, but then we're doing that measurement for the light, and you're saying no, it's not true.
Well, wait, does light accelerate?
Say that again, Brian. I know your mic cut out.
Does light accelerate, Kosher?
That's exactly my point. Is it doesn't. It doesn't slow down and it doesn't accelerate.
So it goes from zero.
It appears to slow down because it's making more interactions, but it's not actually having to accelerate to go slower or faster.
Okay. So changing speed from zero to anything moving is accelerating. So how is it not accelerating?
Because
it's not accelerating. What are you talking about?
He thinks it's going
It
the same
it's
speed
never
the whole
going
time,
zero.
even though it goes slower.
No,
They got it.
appears to
Well,
be
they
going
got it.
slower
They've got
because
it as
it's
slow as
making
3 meters,
interactions.
or they got it down to 4 meters a second.
Sure.
From just
they can get it
Is
down.
that
pass it
slower?
through a cold medium. Just pass it through
So
a cold
it's-
medium.
so
They're
it-
not sending it through plastic.
So they do get it to go slower.
It goes
You
to
just
the
said
same
it,
speed.
Coach.
It goes to the same
No,
speed
no.
depending
You
on
just said
No,
they
it
got it to go
doesn't.
slower.
the medium's going to make it appear to go slower. This is just the way it is.
That's called going slower.
Photons don't accelerate though. They don't accelerate. They don't slow down or speed up. This doesn't happen.
Dude, use your fucking brain, bro. If I'm running through the air, I have less interactions than when I'm running through the water. I'm not as fast when I run through water as when I run through air. I'm going slower in water.
The difference there is you are accelerating in those circumstances because you're traveling at one speed and then you run into a force going in the opposite direction, the drag. It's going to make you slow down.
So what is making the light slow down? What's making the light slow down?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The photons itself are not accelerator.
But you
They don't
said
slow
that
down.
it has to
They
make more
They
stops.
make more interactions. Yeah, but it's not actually stopping. I'm using that as an analogy.
Dude, this
It's
absolute
making more interactions.
fucking nonsense, Kosho, and it's so fucking aggravating that you won't acknowledge it.
I mean, if you guys understood what light
accelerating-
was, if you understood what light was, then you
I understand exactly what you're saying, bro, but it's a crazy story, dude.
Hold on.
Dude, it contradicts.
When photons interact with an atom, okay, they have to make an interaction with the atom itself. It exchanges energy, and the electron goes up a step. And then when the electron goes back down a step, it emits some photons, some other frequency. When this is happening, this is the interaction it has to go through. And this entire time, the photon is not accelerating this entire time.
This acceleration thing, it's not for Einstein this time, it's for Newton.
This is protecting Newton?
This is for Newton, yeah.
I don't understand. What is this protecting? Why are they sticking to this? Why
If it
can't they just
accelerates,
say,
because if it accelerates, that blows Newton's shit out of the box right there.
oh.
It
already
already said
got-
that if they can disprove the constant of light speed, then they could throw out relativity. That's
Well,
come out of Newton.
it is for
Einstein's
Einstein
mouth.
too. It is for Einstein too, because of the light speed thing. Yeah, but the acceleration part is for Newton.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's already blown out of the water. Because anybody with
No, he
a
said
fucking modicum of common sense knows that if it takes you longer to go from A to B in one medium than
You go
another,
slower.
you're going slower.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how many interactions you have. So
They're-
you either
Not
have
to
to
mention
increase the
reality.
distance.
Not to mention if they've got light down to 3 or I want to say 4 meters a second. I mean, a few months ago it was 9 meters a second. I mean, what they're doing is they're just achieving colder and colder temperatures, and it's a damn near vacuum state. And I mean, that's an extreme difference. And you're talking about the speed light moves in an hour compared to 4 meters, bro. That's an extreme change.
Leaky, are you saying they got light moving through a vacuum at 4 meters a second just from the temperature change?
Yeah, in the lab, man, they're using extreme. See,
that's
it was
fucking
all
crazy.
based on the Einstein Bose condensate, but that's like microscopic. Well, they're doing it at regular levels now. This ain't no like theoretical fucking molecular bullshit. This is fucking like real light in the lab, like laser light, and they're just getting closer and closer to absolute zero. And
You got a link for that, Brian?
prove that light slows down.
You got a link for that?
This is the latest in science, man. It's in a couple of my videos, man. It's in a couple of my videos, man.
Okay.
You have to I have to look it up and try and link it.
I'll see if I can find it. What go ahead, Kosho.
Who's got it going the slowest, actually, man? It's some lady. I forgot her name, but if you were into science, modern science, man, you'd know all this shit, Kosho. You'd know her name.
I'm asking you a question, man. How do you change the temperature in a vacuum?
You got to remember. Hold on.
Well, the more you could suck out, you could never get a perfect vacuum. It just gets more magnitudes lower. And it's exponential. And same thing with absolute zero. You'll never reach it. You'll just get a billionth of temperature, and you'll get a trillionth, and then you'll get a zigadillionth of zero. You'll never reach it. It's not possible. Yeah.
The thing is, you got to remember, these guys are science deniers. When Neil deGrasse and Cox and NASA say that time dilation is time travel, you know, they don't agree with mainstream science. They're science deniers.
Yep.
They act like what they act like. They have to act like from 1 to 0.9 or to 0.9 0 is like less than a degree changed. Then going from 0.000009 or from to absolute zero, it's exponential. But they try when they're arguing. It depends on which argument you're arguing with them. But half the time they'll say that it's only not even barely a degree. Same thing with pressure. If you say that if it's like 10 to the negative 17 torr, then that's 17 times 10. That's basically 17 decimal places, right? So what they'll do is in some arguments they'll say, well, you know, about how much of a vacuum that is for light to pass through or whatever you're arguing. Then on the next breath, a different argument, they'll have to argue that, well, that's not even a full PSI or something. That's not even one full torr, but it's exponential. In reality, it's exponential.
Yeah, QE killed him on that exponential shit. There's a massive difference in the amount of gas molecules from 10 to the 16th to 10 to the negative 17th or whatever. And they want to act like it's just a little bit.
Yeah, that's not how you do pressure differences, though.
I think Kosho, man, is so good at pulling up all this crazy, contradictory information. You'd think he'd stop for 1 second to think about
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, where do you observe 10 to the minus 17 exactly?
Well, we don't.
That's what they claim.
Go ahead, Kosho.
They claim what?
They claim space is a vacuum, 10 to the negative 17 torr.
Which space? Between us and the moon? Between us and the sun?
Chucky, I don't believe in that shit, bro. To me, there's no vacuum up there, bro. It's just colder. That's all. To me, or anybody with sense, it knows that it's just colder up there, bro. It's not a fucking vacuum.
Sure. It's just cold. Right. It's cold and black.
It's colder and drier. There's no water. Look,
and black.
Listen, when you start getting to that height, Chucky, it's not convenient that the water vapor drops down to almost nothing. You know, the water vapor. I hear you.
It's clearly black above. It's blue below. It's clearly black, cold and black.
Yeah, well, there's something up there. Look at the rockets, okay? Carefully examine the rocket launches, and you can listen. You'll see the rockets spewing. See, you don't want to hear the answer, okay? There's clearly some kind of medium up there. I don't care what color it is, Chucky. If you look at the rocket launches, you'll see fucking waves and ripples. You'll see the gas coming off, pluming out look like a speedboat in the sky, a fluorescent speedboat. There's clearly some type of medium up there, man. It's not a fucking vacuum.
Where?
And it shouldn't be
up
black.
where when the rockets level out, 15 miles up where the rockets level out, there's clearly some kind of medium up there.
And it shouldn't be black. It should be filled with light, you know, because obviously light is a constant. And so stop being spacist.
What? Light is a constant?
Kosho, in your thermosphere, it's 4,000 degrees where the ISS is at. Does water freeze? If I put a bowl of water outside or maybe a bowl of nitrogen, would it freeze? Or would it boil? What would happen? Is it 4,000? What's the temperature? I don't care what the thermometer says. What happens to matter?
I don't think anybody knows.
See, that's why I ask questions outside the box to get them thinking. And they gotta think, what's our model say? What's our model say? Hold on, I know what my bullshit says. My bullshit says that the molecules, there ain't enough molecules to transfer the heat, but what does it say that it actually does to other men? You ask them some shit outside the box, they freeze like a fucking deer in headlights, man. I just try and get them thinking, dude, because everything they tell us, not everything, just about everything is doublespeak, and I'm trying to point that out to them. They contradict themselves constantly.
Exactly, Brian. Why is space black when it's filled with lights? All these, gaseous balls shooting light everywhere, right?
That's obvious, man. That's what. But what did you ask though? Was that what he asked?
Yeah. What happens to?
That's easy, dude.
Like
Because you
if I had
don't.
a,
No. Let Brian explain it again, because that's not
Go
it.
ahead.
That's
Go
not
ahead.
it. Let Brian explain it. Go
Simple
ahead.
answer.
Yeah, what happens to like a thermos of filled with water? What happens? What happens to that water at 250 miles if it's out there floating alone? What happens to it?
Wait, what are you asking about now? What happens if you have a thermos of
See, I
water?
changed it up a little bit. You didn't think I was going to ask you the same fucking question you couldn't answer a minute ago, did you?
Dude, you need to calm down.
What happens to a thermos? Okay, I'm just joking with you, bro. I'm just joking.
No, well,
just
calm down.
Okay, what would happen?
You just cut out, Brian. Well, you're sorting your mic issue out. Let me read this here. This is from a BBC article from 6 years ago. The speed of light is regarded as an absolute. It's 186,000 miles per second in free space. Light propagates more slowly when passing through materials like water or glass, but goes back to its higher velocity as soon as it returns to free space again. Or at least it did until now. I have to look into this a little more closely to see what this is talking about. This sounds like what Brian was talking about. The experiments. Are you aware of these experiments, Kosho?
You guys really got to start watching Brian Leakey's channel, man. Come the fuck on, guys.
I'm almost there, man. Yeah, so I was just reading about the ones that they're recently doing. It looks like it's the same method they're talking about. I don't know which one Brian was talking about personally, because he said this was very recent. But the one from October, at least, was saying they use something called optomechanics or something like that. It's just doing some trick with like the mirrors. But let me see, because I saw the one from 2015 too. I didn't click on it because I thought it was not the ones he was talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty old. Okay.
Yo, if you had two mirrors,
it's all theoretical, Kosho. He won't admit it, but it's true. It's all theoretical.
Hold on a second. If you had two mirrors just hanging like pendulum, and you bounce the laser beam back and forth in between them, because they're not level, according to you guys, how long would it take for the laser beam to come out of to stop bouncing in between the mirrors?
You mean plumb, right?
Yeah, like according to you guys, they wouldn't be lined up; they'd be out of
You
plumb.
said pendulum. You said pendulum. You mean plumb?
Pendula, like a plumb, yeah, like a pendula. Anyway, never mind.
White weight.
Never mind. Is the show still going, or?
Yeah, I just went to the bathroom real quick. Usually, you guys wait till I leave to go do something before everybody decides they want to talk.
Yeah, I want to know what would happen to that thermos of water at 250 miles. I'm waiting on Chuck, your Kosho, to respond. What would happen to the water inside of the thermos at 250 miles?
The thermos is designed to keep the water warm, Brian.
I'm asking what would happen to the water inside the thermos, inside of a closed thermos?
The thermos, if you didn't know, has a vacuum around it.
Yeah,
So
but
vacuum.
isn't it supposed to be really hot in the Are you in the thermosphere with this, Brian, or?
Yeah, thermosphere.
So that's where it's really. What's it like? 20? They say it's like 2,500 degrees up there or something.
It's up to 4,000 degrees. You know, I want to know the consequence.
There's not enough particles in the thermosphere to transfer that temperature to the.
Well, yeah, but ain't the sun's radiation? Ain't the sun radiating? Ain't the sun's light rays the radiate? Is that the sun? So the sun transfers heat through air? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? The sun. It's closer to the sun. Okay. The sun transfers its heat how? Through radiation, right? What are you talking about? Air? What the fuck's that got to do with the thermos? Yeah, I do sound rubbed up. I need to calm down a little bit. But still, answer the question.
The temperature of the thermosphere and the temperature anywhere at all is based on the average energy of the collection of the gases. The collection of
I'm not asking for a temperature. I'm asking what
the gas in the thermosphere is not enough to transfer to an actual thermos.
What about the molecules in the bowl of water, Kosho?
So what would happen to the water?
Yeah, the water. The water has the molecules in it.
Okay, sure.
The radiation from the sun is hitting the water. What is happening to the water?
Well, it's hitting the thermos, and regardless of what it's hitting, it's going to do the same thing it would do here on Earth.
Hold on.
So
hold
you could
on.
have that.
How-
You could have that thermos here on Earth, and you can have that thermos up there, and the sun's energy is going to affect it the same way.
Hold on. You're saying there's not enough particles up there, but how did those particles get that hot? That are up there that hot?
That temperature is based on the average energy. So the average energy of those particles have a lot of energy. That's true, but there's not that many particles for that.
How did they get that much?
In any meaningful way?
How did they get that much energy?
And how they
from
measure it.
solar, from cosmic rays and
Cosmic
different-
rays.
So the cosmic
there's
rays would be
energy,
hitting.
there's energy
the
that comes from the
cosmic-
sun.
So the cosmic
I'm gonna
rays would
teach-
be hitting the. So the cosmic rays would be hitting the thermos, right?
Yes, they would be hitting the thermos. The difference between the cosmic rays hitting a thermos and the cosmic rays hitting a particle is a single particle can be given a lot of energy because you don't have to transfer a lot of energy.
Isn't a
You don't have to
thermos
transfer
made
a
of
lot of
very
energy. You don't have to
condensed
transfer a lot of energy
in
to
the world?
energize one particle. You do have to transfer a lot of energy to transfer a collection of trillions of particles, which is a small substance.
Is the thermos made of particles?
Yes, a collection of trillions of particles. That's right. Trillions and trillions of particles.
So the cosmic rays
So
are
the amount
hitting
of
the
energy,
thermos.
right. So the amount of energy that it takes to heat something like that up is a lot more than energy it takes to get one particle. And when they talk about the temperature up there, they're talking about the
So the
average
water would
temperature of
freeze
all
then?
those
So are you saying
individual-
the water would? Are you saying the water would freeze then inside the thermos? It would in a freezer.
No, it's in.
I'm just
it's in
asking what would happen at
thermos,
250
protected
miles. I
from-
don't care about
it's in
particles.
a
I just want
thermos.
to know what would happen
Freeze
to the
or
water,
heat
bro.
up.
It's
So
not going
this
to heat up
unit-
or freeze.
This unit they took up to measure the temperature of these particles that are very few and far between, but it's actually made of particles too. It didn't melt immediately at 4,000 degrees.
It's like you're not
How do you
listening.
even-
How
Let
do
me
you
ask you a
determine?
question. Okay, I don't care about the particles,
Yeah.
bro. I want to know what happens to the water. If I put a thermos of water in my freezer, it freezes, bro. Okay. If I have a closed thermos, the water will freeze in my freezer. If I put it in the oven, it'll
But you need to
boil.
get a better
Okay?
thermos.
Yeah, maybe I do. It might take a minute if I do get a better one,
Sure.
Coach Show, but don't dodge. My question is, what happens to the water, okay, in that thermos orbiting at 250 miles?
If I'm using your thermos, then it's probably gonna not be there very long.
Bro, any
It'll-
thermos on
it'll
Earth
evaporate.
over
The thermoses I use, it'll be protected.
any thermos on Earth, the best thermos in the world, if you put it in a freezer long enough, it's going to freeze the water inside.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got isolated systems?
That's
You
what
have an
the
isolated
thermos is supposed to. That's what the thermos is supposed to be.
No, it's a closed system. Otherwise, your drink would never get hotter or colder inside, but it does because
Well,
it's
here's the
not
thing,
an
man.
isolated system. Hold on.
In my opinion, them temperatures malfunction at about -90, -100, because all of a sudden, sometimes the temperature starts trickling up, and there's nothing to make it go up because there's no more atmosphere. The pressure doesn't change by not even a tenth of a percent, you know. And all of a sudden, they're claiming it gets up to 4,000 degrees. That's nonsense. Okay, you can't say it's the Van Allen belts or the magnetosphere that extends out to 58,000 miles. Okay, y'all's claim that it starts heating up is crap. And that's what I'm trying to get you to think about. But you're just giving parroted responses that really ain't making any sense anyway,
the problem
man.
is you're not understanding the simplicity of what temperature is. And I told you as simple as I could that it's an average of the collection of the energy there. And because there's so few particles, those particles are very energetic. The average of those energies, the temperature is going to be a very high number. However, the way that heat would be transferred to anything meaningful to you, convectively, is not going to be. It's not going to be enough to actually affect anything meaningfully. If you put plastic up there, it's not going to melt the plastic. But
okay, so the thermos would be fine. So your final answer is that the thermos would just go about its way. The water would be drinkable, basically, right? Is that your final answer?
If you have a decent thermos, then sure.
Makosho, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's say we leave it out there for 12 hours. No thermos is going to keep something hot or cold, regardless of the environment, for 12 hours. So we stick the thermos outside the ISS and we see what it does. What is going to happen to the fucking water in the thermos?
if you go up to the ISS and you have a normal thermos that's not, supposed to be for space, that water will start to evaporate because it's probably not sealed perfectly.
So what kind of thermos would you need for it to not evaporate? Like an astronaut
Like a
suit?
sealed one, like one that's sealed. Any leakage in that thermos is going to obviously cause it to evaporate.
Yeah, but nothing is.
The reason I put it in a thermos was so you didn't say that it fucking evaporated, bro. Is that really your answer?
Okay, if it's sealed, then it's going to be
Thermos
fine.
made out of the ISS, apparently. That's what you'd need.
What'll happen if it's sealed? Why don't they show shit like this? They should show this.
What will happen if it's sealed? I missed that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you say that, Kosho? What would happen if it was a perfectly sealed thermos?
Yeah, I said that if it's sealed, the water's going to be fine. You're not going to have any kind of extreme result. So if you leave it up there long enough, when it's in the sunlight, and let's say the thermos is capable of getting heat up, you're going to be able to transfer some of that energy into the water.
So there it is, folks.
So it's not going to be 4,000 degrees.
And when it's not there, it's not going to have that energy.
So it's not 4,000
So we need to make
degrees
our
up there.
spaceships out of thermoses, man. That's all. We'll be fine in there.
It's not 4,000 degrees up there then.
The molecules that are up there do measure that temperature.
Well, then we should have
That's
a
the temperature of those
4,000 degree thermos after a while.
Brandon, you want to know why they have to do this, Brandon?
Yes.
Let me tell you why they
hold
have
on,
to do this.
Brian.
Because they have to have their.
Hold on 1 second, Brian. You said the molecules that are up there do measure at 4,000 degrees. So we've got this thermos that's full of molecules, which is full of water molecules. Why isn't it going to measure 4,000 degrees?
Because the same way that the temperature from those molecules, when they interact with the thermos, it'll exchange some of those the energy. It will lose that energy once it does that. So the thermos might heat up slightly in consequential amount, and the particles around it will lower in consequential amount. And
Brandon, let me give you the real reason.
Nothing will be noticeably affected by this.
Huh.
Because there's so few particles up there to interact with the thermos.
Go ahead, Brian.
Now let me give you the real reason, Brandon. What it is, they have to keep their bouncing molecules. They're bouncing they're bouncing gases. Okay, so when they expand like that, okay, then they have to claim that they're moving around faster, but what they're really doing is stretching. Okay, anybody with half a brain sees that the air in a jar or a vacuum chamber is thinning out. Okay, and you'll never get all of it. It's thinning out. You could just forever keep stretching it thinner and thinner. Okay, but in their model, they have the molecules bouncing around. Okay, so they're covering more space. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if they're speeding up and they're covering more space, then they have to be getting hotter. So they claim that temperature just to maintain their model. All the bullshit fucking responses that some of them that they can't really give a good answer to, or their true answer is just to maintain their model. That's why they claim that shit, to maintain their model.
Exactly,
I understand that, but here's what doesn't make sense.
particles-
Here's what doesn't make sense to me, right? So let's say at that area, the molecules are 4,000 degrees. However few there are. Would that mean if there was more molecules, that those molecules would be 4,000 degrees? Or would the temperature come down the more molecules you're adding?
Yeah, the reason why they're able to get that energetic is because there's not like down here, it's so dense, the air is so dense that some of the air particles could be extremely energetic as they are up there, but they soon interact with the rest of the particles and they come to some equilibrium. So there's free space up there for those particles to move much faster without interacting with another particle.
Does
But the air is not transferring. But the sun's not transferring the heat directly to the air. You say it bounces off the ground and then radiates the heat to there. Otherwise,
I did not say that.
That's what all your people's. I know,
did
but that's
not
what all
say
your.
that.
Okay, you didn't say that, but that's what all your people's claim from GEMS. Because if that was the
it
case,
does both.
the air would get hotter up top.
It does both of those things.
It's hotter
Not
up top
all
and on the
sun
bottom, but the
energy-
middle.
Not all sun energy reaches the ground. That's a fact. if you put a solar panel in space and solar panel on Earth, the solar panel in space will receive more energy.
Oh, really? So you'll get more
Yeah.
power from a
Yes.
solar panel in space, will you, Chikey?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
How come that same energy that you saying is going to give us more power from the solar panel in space doesn't give more energy to the thermos or the ISS? That's weird.
Or the air up there.
Depends which thermos
Because it
you
gets
have.
colder as it
Is
goes
it
up.
painted
It
white?
gets colder as it goes up, not hotter. If what you're saying was true, it would get hotter as we went up.
No, which kind of thermos you have? Is it covered? Is it painted
gives
white? Black. Yes, it matters. Is it covered with silver? Is it shiny?
You pick.
It's pink. Pink.
It's
Like your
it
panties.
absorbs all light.
It's pink like your panties,
Absorbs
Jake.
all light. It will get hot.
Hmm?
It will get hotter. Of course.
It will get hotter.
Yeah, but in one
Okay.
breath, they say that the gas particles up there at the top of the atmosphere are running out of energy. Right? They say that they're losing energy, and that's why they don't go off into space. Anybody out on the fence out there?
But they
If
also
y'all-
say,
hopefully
hold
y'all
on,
can see
Brian.
the direct contradictions these people
Hold
say.
on. They all, yes, you guys have a position where you say they're losing energy due to gravity, and that's why they fall back down. But you also say they're gaining energy so that they can reach escape velocity because you have it so we lose metric tons of gas every day.
Yeah, the ones that reach escape velocity are the ones that gain energy and they gain the speed to do that, and they're always experiencing the downward pull.
Bullshit.
So are they
both
gaining
those things
energy
are
or
accurate.
losing energy as they go up? You can pick either one, I guess.
They're all being affected by gravity. Some of them are going to be given enough energy to overcome that. That's why it's called escape velocity.
Total nonsense. All right, I'm going to read a couple of super chats. Nap Snaps, $5. Shut up, Naps. How are they science deniers when science says time dilation is a thing and you all deny it? You deny everything science says happened, 0 cents. Well, Naps, I don't know. Personally, I feel like if you buy into a philosophy that leads to you having to believe in time travel, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense once you break it down, as I think we showed over the last week, then you should probably deny that philosophy until they can show you some fucking time travel actually happening. I think.
Second of all, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, and second of all, we got Neil deGrasse, Brian Cox all saying time dilation, even NASA, time dilation is time travel, and they're the ones denying it. So you better talk to your own people's Naps.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat though, Naps. Appreciate it. Earth is life. US $10. Flat earthers who have never taken a physics course who think NASA is lying and space is fake, calling everyone else science deniers. Oh, the irony, the irony.
Science deniers. I don't know.
I want to ask Kosho.
It is
Why you
ironic
just
that
don't
you
say,
guys
"I
are
don't
the
know"?
actual science deniers, but call us science deniers. I agree with B-Ball. It is ironic.
Yeah.
I want to ask Kosho why he keeps going. Like, why don't you just say, "I don't know"?
I
Yeah,
say
to
I
that
don't know
stupid-
things
to
I
that-
don't
go
know.
ahead, sorry.
Yeah, that's
Like, now
I say,
you
I
are
say,
at the point-
I say, listen, dude, I'm trying to answer your question. Okay. Yeah, I say I don't know to the things I don't know, and the things that I have answers for, I give answers. So that's just
Kosho, but you're
I'd like to
going
give a
too
quick
far into the
response,
lie.
man.
Go
ahead, I'm
You're
sorry.
going too far into the lie, Kosho, that you're now assuming what those thermals are made of, or if they're sealed or not, even when you don't know this stuff, right? It's better just say, "I don't know."
Wait,
We're
what
not
is it?
floppy.
What is? Hold on, man.
I would
What is
say-
it you claiming I don't know? I couldn't understand the words you used just now.
Silent
What is it
Zero.
you
No,
claiming
I
that don't
agree. You
know?
should just, if you don't know, you should say you don't know.
No, I
And a
understand that. I
quick response to that super chat.
You're not
The
answering the
science.
question I'm asking. I'm
Let me give a
asking
quick
him,
response,
what's
Glenn.
the
He's
word that
breaking
he
up.
used? What's the word that he used? He claimed that I didn't know something. So I'm gonna ask him what
Honesty.
that word was.
Honesty.
But he
Honesty.
didn't say I don't know honesty. He said there's a thing that is in this.
No, if you don't know something, be honest and say you don't know it. But
Jesus
let me
Christ, why do you talk when you have no? There's no need for you to say that, man. I'm trying to ask him a specific question based on what he just said.
I said if you don't want to compromise on on just say that you don't know something. That's it.
Yeah, you can hide behind I don't know.
I just told you when I don't know something, I say I don't know.
But
when I do know something, I give the
how
explanation.
good would it look if the shills that they sent to represent establishment science were always saying I don't know? You know, they.
Why are they always going against? Why are they always going against their own establishment though? When they disagree with Neil deGrasse, Brian Cox, NASA, it's very confusing.
Because it depends on the question you're asking. It depends on the question you're asking, Jeremy.
It depends on if he wants to cherry pick the things that he's claiming other people are saying. Like when he says Neil deGrasse Tyson and all the claims.
That's a fallacy.
No. If you say it's 4,000 degrees and the energy's running out, I'm going to give you contradictions on that 4,000 degrees and the contradiction y'all say about the energy running out.
I understand.
Kojo, that's
you've never said
rich.
that. Go ahead.
That's rich, Kojo, coming from you, since you're saying that we cherry pick. Yeah, you guys are the one cherry picking which ones you use from Neil deGrasse Tyson and all those guys, and which ones not to use. So you guys are the ones doing the cherry picking.
I said one person cherry picked. I don't cherry pick from any of those people. I don't at all.
To respond to B-Ball, man, the science we believe in is repeatable, demonstratable science. We bring a lot of demonstration to the table. They bring a lot of rhetoric. We at this channel, we don't let that slide, man. We pin them down, man. We don't believe in pseudoscience. What
science are you talking about that you guys bring to the table?
Yeah, bring something to the table.
Natural science.
Let's see it. Come on.
Coach Joe, did you get your vaccine? Did you get
It's
your
not relevant.
vaccine, Coach Joe?
It doesn't matter. Why
You
does
don't
that
trust
matter?
the science? You don't
Dude,
trust
that guy
the
sounds
science?
so creepy.
What? You don't
Let's
believe
not
in
go there.
science?
What? We don't get some science here. Some evidence, hard evidence.
No, yeah, I'm honestly curious about what you said before about the science. What science?
The point is here's the point, Coach. When you tell me it's 4,000 degrees, but you can't verify it, you're having to accept that from NASA, okay? And they've been proven, at least suspect, if nothing else. You're having to rely on NASA, okay? And then the explanations that contradict each other, you know. And we're trying to point that out, bro.
That's not contradictory the way I understand it. I didn't hear it from NASA. The difference between you and I is I understand what's meant by that when they say it's 4,000.
Okay, no, and I just showed that I understand just as much, and I've showed why you falsely think you're understanding it, okay? Because you couldn't answer, you still ain't answered what's the temperature of the water inside the thermos, okay?
I did answer, but whatever temperature it was when it went up there, maybe slightly more.
Kosho,
maybe slightly less, depends on the thermos.
Do you agree with Chikey that if you had a solar panel
yes, I do.
up by the ISS that you could harvest more energy from it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you're harvesting more energy, but that same energy that's hitting the ISS isn't transferring that energy into the ISS or the thermos?
Yeah, how much more energy? How much more energy?
Oh, I don't know. You tell me.
I am telling you. That's what I was just describing to Brian. Was that it might be slightly less, it might be slightly more, depending on the material.
You said that the thermos would be
first. Dude, this is why questions are being answered.
So
no, at first you said the thermos would be colder because there's less air up there, bro.
Jesus
okay,
Christ. Depending on the material, the thermos may not be reflective or absorbing. In either case, the difference between when it receives on the ground and receives there is going to be the difference is not going to be very much.
So if I have a thermos on the ground, have you ever worked? Hold on, Brian. Hold on.
I'll drop the rest of the show.
Hold on. Have you ever had a thermos outside in the sun?
Yes, I have.
It gets hot, right? Outside of it gets hot.
Yeah,
the stuff inside of it gets hot.
Yes.
So it's kind of the same as having a solar panel. You have a solar panel outside, it gets hot, it collects energy. Same in space. So the solar panel would collect more energy. So would the fucking thermos.
Yeah, I just said that to you, guy. So there's
no. You said it first. You said that.
You need to stop talking, Brian. You need to stop talking.
I'm gonna wait. Tell me when it's my turn, Brandon.
Please. Come on, Brian.
Why are you even allowed to do this? Just ask me a fucking question.
I'm the one who brought this up, dude, and I stick you every time, so you don't want to hear from me.
Well, let him answer, and then you can go, Brian.
Answers you gave that are.
I don't have time to do this, so please shut up. Let Brian without fucking
energy, Kosho.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Very simple.
Go ahead. Let Kosho respond. Kosho, okay, just respond.
Yeah, if you have a thermos up there, there's going to be a lot of things it depends on. Okay, like the material of the thermos. Now, once you understand what it's made out of, it's reflective or absorbing, there's more energy. Sure, the net energy that's receiving from the sun is going to be slightly increased because there's less atmosphere for it to go through. But at the same time, there's less atmosphere to convectively heat up that thermos. So if you have a thermos and you have it inside your house, but you have it near a window so that you can get the same energy from the sun, but not the same convective heat that you're going to get from outside, it's not going to heat up as fast. So there's a lot of things that go in, there's a lot of things that go into
heat, energy, Kosha.
Coach, so your mic's not sounding too hot, bro. Or maybe it was
Yeah,
just
let me
I
please
don't know.
respond, man. I'll chill out. But at first he said that there's not as much air up there. That's what he's saying now. So it won't, the temperature won't exchange. Okay. And said it would get cold. Then he said that it would evaporate from the radiation from the sun. And then he said it would stay normal. He gave all three answers. So anybody
I never once said that. This is your problem, dude.
You did say that.
No, I never once said that. I never once said it's going to evaporate because of the energy from the sun. I never fucking once said that. What I said was if it's not sealed all the way, if it's not sealed all the way,
Why would we have why would we give you a situation where the thermos isn't sealed? What sense?
Because regular thermoses aren't sealed all the way like that.
Oh.
Okay, but if you had one that it could be sealed for the vacuum space and it was perfectly capable of doing that, then sure, it would not evaporate in that way.
Here's why I think that they have to tell us
energy-
this little story that they're doing now, this little shuffle that Kosho is doing, is because it doesn't make any sense why the ISS doesn't heat up if the thermosphere is so hot. Oh, really? So the ISS does heat up because of the sun.
Yeah, it does heat up. It gets energy from the sun.
It does. So the astronauts are just melting in there.
No.
What kind of insulation?
It has ways of utilizing the energy.
There's no way to exchange the heat off of it. So whatever heat it gets, it might take a minute, but whatever heat it gets, there's no way to exchange it because there's no molecules there. So they'd be melted.
That's right. There's no dissipation.
Good point.
We use wind.
How do they get the
water to dissipate heat? That's what we do down here, right?
Yeah. How does it radiate out?
Yeah. How do they dissipate it up there?
They blow air
I get
out
them every
into
time,
space?
folks.
Just more contradictions. What a shock. Every little layer you dig into. More doublespeak, more contradictions.
He's been tearing this shit apart piece by piece.
You know what?
What's the double?
And then 2 weeks later, NASA will come out with an article. 2 weeks later, NASA will come out with an article on how they vent the heat up there. You can count on it.
They already explained this stuff, dude. This stuff is already explained. They radiate the heat away. They have specific radiators to do that. They receive energy from the sun. That's how they get their energy. Like this stuff is already explained.
So how do they exchange the heat? Okay, if the radiator's there, okay, well, how do they get the heat off the radiators?
That's what the radiators do. What do you? But
a radiator.
That's the whole purpose of
On Earth, you have a fan blowing at it or something. Okay, there's no air up there for the radiator to radiate.
It's not the same radiator as the one in your car, dude.
You know what kind of radiators the ISS has, Kosho?
Great technology, man.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics about it, but I know it's not using the air.
You can have an 100% efficient radiator that we don't have down here, but they have in space. I mean, we should put that shit down here.
So they don't have heaters. They don't have heaters on ISS, right?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
I'm actually working on a radiator right now. So, what kind of radiator is it, Kosho? Because I'm actually working on a radiator right now. I know exactly how radiators work.
That exact question.
Yeah, but I think okay. I had to drop and rejoin. I didn't hear your answer for what type of radiator it was.
Same kind of radiator as in a car, but I don't know.
What kind of radiator is it?
I'm done with you guys. There's no point in answering questions.
Okay. I get it.
How about you just mentioned a car. What about an HVAC system, right? I mean, one of the most important radiators that we experience if you have air conditioning.
The same heating system I'm working on has a air conditioning radiator as well. Works on the same principle.
Well, anyway, you know, I'm sure they figured it out since they've landed us on the moon and got a helicopter on Mars and stuff.
They all radiators need air to go through.
Or some cooler medium to pass through the.
So what we do on this channel, we question science. It's healthy to question everything, okay? And for them to call us science deniers, yeah, there's a branch of science we don't agree with.
Data. Who is it?
Hey,
I don't.
I think your mic's open. Silent Zero, maybe.
I think when they say science denying, they're really just talking about like rhetoric and belief from other people, because science itself is a method. You can't really deny a method. The method, if you utilize it, you can acquire certain information. You can't really deny a method. So I think when they say science denier, they're just talking about scientism denying, like just the blind belief in what other scientists have claimed to do. I think that's what they're actually really saying.
That's a good point. And when they say it's 4,000 degrees but freezing cold, you know, we gotta throw up flags and ask questions. And 9 out of 10, their answers contradict themselves when you ask the gritty, down to the nitty gritty questions. When you get down to the nitty gritty, they contradict themselves so they can answer everything.
Theoretical scientists. That's not just scientists.
No, we
Let's add
never.
theoretical on there because.
Yeah, I believe in the technology, you know, and the sciences, natural science, and I believe the technology, engineering. I believe in the real shit. I don't believe that in helicopters that can't even stay together at a certain speed, except for they got some super material that makes it work on Mars. You can't demonstrate it here on Earth. I mean, I go on and on, but I'm just going to make the quick point that if it contradicts my reality, I question it.
Yeah,
Good
what
point.
speed does those blades have to rotate, Brian? Or
It's an insane speed, bro. I don't know it right off the top of my head, but it's an insane speed that I don't know if that they could even demonstrate it here. He tried to demonstrate it Action Labs with a toy. It was nothing but a propeller, and it wouldn't fly. It just bounced around.
Yeah, I got a question for you guys. Lasers in the atmosphere. Let's say I'm at sea level. And we'll just say the humidity is, I don't know, just a normal day, right? It's like 50% humidity. We can leave that out. So I'm standing. I'm in a boat on the ocean, and I've got a laser, and the water is as still as can be. Still as can be. It's like glass. So my boat is really stable, and I've got the laser collimated, and I'm pointing it out into nothingness. I can only see sea as far as can go. How far will the laser light go?
Forever.
Does anybody have any idea what the limitations of a laser? Will it go forever? Will it be dependent on the laser? Will it be dependent on some other factor?
I have a real answer and I have a joke answer. My joke answer is it's going to go across the plane. It's going to go under the earth, under the flat earth, and it's come around and hit you in the back of the head the other way around.
right in the ass.
Nice.
You got a lot of factors to take into consideration with the spread of it and the light attenuation, atmospheric turbidity, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, my real answer would be medium, the atmosphere, depending on whether there's a rainstorm, and fog and haze, that would be a major factor. And then of course the power of the laser itself. It would be interesting to do that, like to get the world's most powerful laser and then try to get the world's most clear environment and see what max distance you can get. But I think like when we see sunsets, that's about as far as light goes. I think sunsets is the max because the sun is the most powerful, longest stretching light that has ever been observed, that we have ever been able to observe. And when sunsets happen, the couple thousand miles.
Yeah, that I posted a picture. Can you see it, Brandon?
Yeah.
So those two different
6,200 miles in my model. Sorry.
Brian, I'm talking. So the right picture is green laser, which to the eye looks much stronger than the red. However, it doesn't go far, or when it comes out from my finger, it looks much more dim than the red laser.
Hmm.
So yes, it depends which laser.
So it'd be dependent on the laser. So if I had, let's say I had both lasers out there, Chikey, the green one and the red one, and I shot both of those off into the distance, would the red one go further than the green one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As you can see,
I see.
it makes less interaction with whatever is inside my finger and comes out of the other side, while the green one is absorbed.
So that light is going to have interactions with whatever is in between it. You know, after I fire those lasers off, it's going to interact with, I guess, the gases in the atmosphere, water vapor, whatever is in between me and downrange, and that's gonna impact how far the laser will go.
Yes, we see the sunset. We see the red. We can still see the red, but the other spectrum is gone.
Okay.
So
Blue is gone.
I just Googled it, and I'm getting several sources that say the green lasers are the most powerful lasers. So why is that opposite to what you're saying, Jackie?
I told you that it looks more powerful. When I see it with my eyes, it looks like the green is much stronger than the red. However, not much of it goes through my finger. It's absorbed.
In that image you show, I see a red one on the left, and I see a thing on the right that's red with a little bit of green on the outside. So the one on the right is the green laser?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's fine. I appreciate the answer. So here's my next question. So if I shun that laser around me, this is me. We're looking down at top, like we're in a helicopter looking down at me and my boat. I'm the red dot. And I'm firing my laser out. Here's my laser. And I've drawn a circle around me. And this circle represents the circumference, the area that my laser can cover. If I swung around, this is the area I could hit with my laser. Right?
I'm with
Understand?
you. Yeah.
Know
All
what
right.
you're getting at, Brandon. I've thought about this before. Go ahead.
Now here's my question. If I increase my elevation, and I continue to fire my lasers out in the same direction, what would happen to this circle?
You're going there.
So if I went up 10 feet,
It would increase. It would increase for two reasons.
Well, I would say it would depend on whether you also change the direction you're shooting the laser. Like when you go up in altitude, are you still shooting the laser down? Because if that's the case, it's going to be then hitting the water. Whereas if you aim it up as you go up, then now you're going to be able to make that circle larger.
Assume that circle is
actually a sphere.
yeah. So I suppose the circle it would be a sphere if I was to represent this in 3D. But I guess the distance though would increase if we're just thinking in 2D terms. At my elevation.
I think for two reasons.
Go ahead.
I see where you're going with this, and I like it. Go ahead.
I think for two reasons, because although it has a maximum strength or whatever, like the lumens, it's going to be able to actually, emit. It's also going to be there's going to be less
lumens
medium for it to be obstructing it. Slowing it there. Basically, what do you call it, turbidity or whatever. So it's able to be seen further. Then also, if it's the horizon that's making that radius, then the horizon's going to increase.
So as I raise in altitude, what is the relationship between the increase in my altitude and the increase in the circumference of the circle?
Well, because there's going to be less atmosphere.
Right. I understand that, but is it 1-for-1, or is it going to increase more dramatically the higher I get up, or what? Let's take it.
It depends on the lasers.
Depends on the
I think it's
laser.
exponential. If you have no atmosphere at all, it would be exponential.
If you had extremely strong lasers, like the kind of like lasers that you're talking about, you could see, you know, you could shoot it to a plane or something like that, and you know, be able to see it on the plane, like a really powerful laser. Then yeah, as you increase altitude, because two things, like I said, the atmosphere and the rate and the horizon mainly. At that point, it would be mainly the horizon because the horizon.
Brandon, are you going somewhere with this? Because if not, I just thought it's someplace you are going with it. Are you going somewhere with this?
Well, let's hear where. Go ahead. Where do you think I'm going with this?
Well, what they're saying basically, they're explaining why the sun would set. You know, with a little help from refraction. They're saying that the lower on the horizon, basically, the lower the laser is, the less distance. You know, the more atmosphere it'd have to travel through. So they're helping you explain sunsets, basically. And
well, actually,
the sun doesn't lower in elevation in y'all's description. It just lowers in appearance because of how far away it's going. But it's never said that it just gets lower, like you know, elevation wise.
Well, actually, I'm thinking about the horizon and where we see the horizon and the relationship between our altitude and where we would perceive a hard horizon to be. So let's say you're out on the ocean in this particular situation, and due to turbidity, you could only see so far, right? So you could only see 10 miles. There's going to look like there is a horizon out there at 10 miles. That's going to be pretty much the limit of where you can make anything out. We've seen many pictures of this. So as I increase in height, my question is, and I continue to look down for a horizon, what is going to happen to the total distance between me and that horizon and my ability to see that far? And I think what's going to happen is the higher you get up and you continue to look downwards towards, you know, the limit of your vision, that horizon is going to push out, but it's not going to push out at a 1-to-1 rate. It's going to push out at a lesser rate, meaning you've still got to look down through all that atmosphere. That's still going to
you're
add
looking
up.
out at the horizon. Yeah, you're right though. The distance, like when you're looking through let me back you up. When you're looking through an instrument, an auto level, 5 foot at if it's a foggy day, then you're only seeing a few hundred yards. The 5 foot gap is going to be big between the ground and whatever you're looking at 200 yards, but off in the distance. So in other words, it's a function of distance. So when the atmosphere starts blocking things, then it's going to be the horizon is going to start appearing a little bit lower. You know, just from your lack of distance.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking is so you're raising up, right? This is kind of from a side view. So I'm raising up and I'm looking out this way. Here, let me turn this thing. I'm looking out away from me. This isn't the best thing. So I'm looking this way and I raise up and this horizon is going to move out, but I'm still looking down through all that atmosphere. So this isn't going to be a 1-for-1. I'm not going to raise up 10 feet. This is going to push out perfectly and still be at my line of sight, right? You're restricted. So what's going to happen is you're going to get higher and it's going to appear as if that apparent horizon, that limit of how far you can see, is going to get lower in your vision. This is what I'm getting at. So let's say I go up here.
You're spot on, bro.
I'm still looking straight out. Oh, that horizon that I see that's due to the turbidity in the atmosphere and the limit of my sight and whatever else is going to look like it is getting lower in relationship to horizontal, looking straight ahead of me. So that is exactly what I would expect to see in the atmosphere as I increase in elevation, is the apparent horizon dropping, but the distance I see that horizon increasing ever more as I go higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Makes
Lemon has
perfect sense to me,
great
man.
saying for this, right? You know, the floor ramps up to the eye level, and everything above you also ramps down, but there's so much more of it. But so we're not worried about above. We're talking about.
And you got to think about this, like the
Haven't-
Felix Baumgartner jump. They're claiming the horizon is a little bit the horizon line that was from the ground is a little bit higher than the horizon line at 127,000 feet. But according to their math, it's supposed to be the drop down is supposed to be the 127,000 feet from you to the ground, plus an additional 5.5, 6 miles. And we're not seeing that. It's supposed to be like a 6.5, close to 7 degree drop. And even what they showed in rebuttal to my Felix Baumgartner video to me was not even close to 6 degrees. It might have been 3, probably more like 2 degrees.
Kind of
And,
like this, Brian, right? Like you were
How
just
could
saying
you?
about.
How could you tell, Brian?
Let's say there's a fog in front of you. You're driving your car. It's a perfectly flat road. You're going through the smoothest desert in the world. If there's a fog there in front of you, your road only rises so far, and you can't see the rest of it. So you look down to the road. You're looking down.
Oh yeah,
though the
that's a
road-
good analogy. That's a really good analogy.
it's absolutely a function of distance. Absolutely.
Is that what we see? Do we see the things less blur at the distance, or they just come top first?
Well, if we
Is
had
it
a
different?
clear view out there in the distance,
We
Chucky,
don't
could
see them come out of the blue, blur sharpening in. They don't.
Yeah, we always see it blurry. But when we get high enough,
Well,
like in
if it's
a
blurry, it's
like
very
the
blurry.
like the Mage footage from Mr. Sensible, the 120-foot footage, not just his footage, but even plane footage where they're looking out towards the horizon. There's always a blur, but you got to remember that blur is going to look sharper the higher up you are and the further you're looking, because the space that you're looking at, that blur, is like half of your view, down below, is crunched up in that little thing. I forgot what that's called, the optical slant or
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I've showed this before when I did the analyze the Mage stuff. You can split the lower half of your vision. Here, let me just bring that up. But that when you're looking at that horizon, you're seeing fucking probably when you're in that balloon, hundreds of miles are the width of a hair. That's how much it condenses. That's how much it squishes up the actual space in your visual space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I'll tell you, dude, they can't show us a horizon. They can't show us a horizon from altitude with anything cut off, and it should still be a definite horizon, a definite cutoff. They could argue the clouds or whatever, but they would at least have to admit, yeah, it's always we lose our vision. They think that on a flat Earth, everything should keep going up, and we should just keep seeing forever. But once things get to eye level or close to it, it doesn't reach exact eye level, but close to it, apparently. That then things start just going straight away from you. So that's how we lose things. That's how vision lose things, is just from attenuation, turbidity. Like the weather says, visibility for today is 20 miles. Well, you get up higher, you're going to see a lot further, but you're still going to have a limit.
Well,
And
not quite.
even if the Earth is flat, you're not going to see forever because it levels out, and then you're just looking into it. It's not
Exactly.
rising
Like this
anymore.
one right here. This is at 36,000 meters. So it's like 120,000 feet, right? And you'll see that I have this number. This is from Mage 2. So each of these from C to D is like 152 miles. And then the next one is like 300. It doubles each time. So when you get up between G or F and G, that's like 1,200 miles is squished down in this little optical space between the red and the magenta lines, F and G.
And an important point to make, a very important point to make, is the line from the distance from the ground to the black of space, whatever it is, up at about 15 miles or however high, is going to get smaller and smaller off in the distance. So if you're looking off in the distance, within 1,000 miles, or at least a couple thousand miles, that 15 miles is going to be a speck on the horizon. You're never going to see that far on a flat surface.
Right.
Okay, just from their trigonometry, the distance from the ground to space on a flat surface is going to be a speck.
Yeah, it's very, very, very condensed when you're looking out here at that distance. Now you look at this they think is a hard horizon, but if you sit here and look at this and go look at the better image, because I think this isn't, well, it is HD, but it doesn't come through that well on this picture here or in Discord, I'm sure. But you can't actually see a hard horizon here. You see it go from like blue to green to fuzziness to dark blue to black. That's what you see. So what's going on in here? Who fucking knows?
Clouds. What do you expect to
Brandon,
see?
the ISS is very well. They had two aspects onto it. Sorry, they had two aspects onto it. Number one, they had a little bit of curve when you watch the ISS videos, and movement, right? Like you're going into that distance, that haze, which makes it totally appear like you're going over a ball because of the curved and the movement.
Oh yeah.
Whereas balloons, like you're doing, are perfect, where you're just like.
Man, one of my important questions, man, was like one of my arguments against a flat Earth was like if the ceiling is low and the stars are low, then us raised, we shouldn't be able to see more stars in the distance, as we raise up, because we're just getting closer to the ceiling, maybe a little bit more, but eventually more. And come to find out, you don't, bro. No wonder they don't argue that shit. That would be a compelling argument, but in reality, you don't hardly see shit more raising up. Okay, they got excuses for that. But Iri Landucci showed a plane flying from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere in a time lapse, and the stars still go from down to up, from up to down, from above to below. It's like no wonder they don't use. I was wondering why they never use that argument, because that would be a compelling argument to me against a flat Earth, and it's because in reality it backs a flat Earth. Dude, their shit's crumbling, man.
Here's one from a plane, and if you look carefully at this horizon. I've had people show me pictures like this and say, oh yeah, look at that curved horizon. That's nonsense. You can't see a hard boundary to the earth in here. All you're seeing is the limit of your vision. When you're up this high, when you're looking this far, you are essentially in a giant fog bank.
What's your field of view?
It's just like you're in a fog bank.
It is. What's your field of view? How much do you see there? 60 degrees?
I don't know what this was taken with.
Head, so I'm not. I mean, I can look one.
Your field of view is going to be limited at that height because of the atmosphere up above you is kind of reflective, right? Where the blue turns to black or whatever. So it's going to be limited.
I don't understand what his point is with the field of view. What does that matter? What's that matter? What does that matter, Chucky? Why are you asking that?
He's just putting random words together.
Because you can't see the curve on 60 degrees. Get 180, and if you know how to see the curve.
Chucky, did you hear what I said? Yeah, I agree with you totally. Globers give me these sort of pictures and tell me that this is evidence. I'm just saying why it's nonsense.
Well, I don't know who gave you this.
Well, I've had it given to me many times. Sometimes they'll overlay it with, or they'll use like the Theodolite app and show, oh, do you see the horizon falls below 0, so therefore globe. I've got some really funny examples of that somewhere.
Horizon there.
Here they are.
They tell us
this is the type of thing I'm talking about.
World.
Somebody gave me this as evidence of the globe.
It's different.
Along with what Chaikey's saying. Chaikey, yes, my field of view is 60 degrees, right? And I'm up that high and I do see a curve. So I'm going to follow that curve to the right. Do I have to keep looking down and down and down to follow that curve? Or when I turn my head, is the horizon, the fog bank, just right back up at eye level, and I see another curve going back over to the left where I just...
Let me back that up, man. This is the funniest shit in the world, y'all. They say that we don't see left to right curvage at the horizon, like, because we try to say that, look, okay, we're looking 10 miles out, but we could still see, about 4 miles left to right. And the boat, I could see a boat on the same height left to right, or let's just say the horizon. And they say, no, you're not seeing as far to the left and the right. You're seeing in a radius, right? But then when they get up to 100,000 feet, Then all of a sudden that circle, that rule
real
doesn't apply.
curvature.
It's
Yeah,
more
real
doublespeak, right?
curvature.
Now you don't see in a radius no more like we did down at the horizon. Now it's Earth curve. It's fucking crazy, dude. They're just
That's
blinded.
exactly
They're
what I was
blinded.
gonna say, Brian. Exactly what I was gonna say. Because like the Black Swan, the Isle of Man, they're taking all these photos and they're zooming in, reducing what they would see when they're not zoomed in, right? So, and they're telling you where the curve's at. But if you, as the observer in that photo, shot up to 35,000 feet, you would not see the curve that they're talking about. You would see further than the boat or oil platform they're looking at, and the horizon would still be flat.
From left to right. Exactly.
So where's that curve? I don't. It's so right in front of their face. It's ridiculous.
How can it be flat
Oh,
left
there.
to
Oh,
right?
it's a great scale negator. Come on,
How
Travis.
can it be flat left to right when you need to turn right to see its right side and need to turn left to see its left side? And if you're in the middle of the ocean, you will turn 360 degrees around you, and you can say that it's a straight line. Then you don't know
Up to altitude.
how curved line looks
Bring it
like.
up. Bring it up to altitude where you think the H2 curvature is there, and then
What
look
do you
left to
mean?
right.
Any altitude. Go far enough
Jake, you're gonna have to show
and you will
me.
see
You're gonna have to show me the circle
the
without getting
horizon
bigger. Like the higher up you go, the bigger the circle gets. You're gonna have to show me when the circle stops getting bigger and starts shrinking. In other words, when you got all of it, then you can tell me that it's the curvature of Earth.
And then you just start
How
looking
Yeah,
down.
but it's
line?
symmetrical. It's
How
not
high
a
it's at.
circle. It's symmetrical.
What do you mean
The curve
symmetrical?
would be.
You look right, you see it. You turn around, you see it. It's all around you, and you tell me it's a straight line. How come a straight line in front of you became behind your back?
I see pretty tiny balls when I watch a SpaceX, rocket go up. All of a sudden, you see the ground view, and then it switches to that whatever CGI or rocket cam, right? And all of a sudden, I'm looking down on the curve. I'm not looking over a curve. I'm just looking down.
Chikey, if you do one of them balloons over the water,
Like it's
you
a
don't see
cylinder.
that. They overland. Land protrudes toward the coastline, Chikey. That's why they think they're slick, and they do these high altitude shots above the land that protrudes to the coastlines. Okay, no matter how far you are in the center of the continent is 99 going to be a little higher. You're going to have protrusions in some places, so they take out particular cherry pick shots. Okay, do this shit over big bodies of water. You don't get that.
What you talking about? The horizon is not 360 degrees around you?
Yes, it is.
Only the direction of
it is if you spin a
west
circle.
or east.
Yes, and if you rise, the horizon moves back further.
So if it's a
further
circle, how can it be a
flat.
straight line?
Chikey, I
That
can go up
means
200.
If you're looking at a
see
circle, if you're
you
looking
see
at
a
a circle,
and you claim it's a straight
Horizon.
line.
The horizon
if
is
you're
not a
looking at a
circle.
circle, if you're looking at a
not.
circle side on, it's a straight line.
Look,
But the horizon is not a circle.
is it
Hey,
not?
just real quick, Chikey, when you do that, when you look straight ahead of you and then you turn 90 degrees, turn 90 degrees, turn 90 degrees, and then turn back to where you first started, you're not looking equidistant every single degree. That's
Yes,
not a
you do.
circle. No, you're
Yes,
not.
you do. Yes, you do.
Okay, you would have to prove that.
Well,
No,
prove it
I would
out.
agree with him. You're seeing in a circle, but as you rise in elevation, that circle gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right,
Well,
James.
No,
Hold on,
the
hold on.
horizon is
I don't
not
care
a
how big or
circle.
small it
Listen,
is.
listen again.
I
Listen
don't
again.
care how big or small it is. I'm arguing against it being a straight line.
Listen,
That's
if
all.
It
If
is
it's
you
a
a
are
straight
straight
line.
line,
you
it
are
never
out
comes behind you.
if you are out in the middle of the ocean with no land and you had a ship in every cardinal direction in front of you, to your right, to your left, and behind you, and all of those ships apparently were on the horizon, they would not be equidistant from you.
Well, to which direction the horizon will be different than the other?
I agree, Travis.
Okay.
Yes, we can agree. So, in which direction the ships will be closer, and which direction they will be
You would have to.
farther?
That would,
Do you have that weather
that would
data?
change every
Is
day. It
this
would
is
change
this
every day.
In which direction?
It would change every
Okay,
day.
okay. So let's
Every
say
hour.
in
Travis,
front
every
of me,
hour,
let's say in front of me, there are
hour.
3 miles, and behind me, there are 3.5 miles. How does that help your argument that the horizon does not curve?
Because you don't see it.
Because it's a
Okay.
straight line.
If it's a straight line,
Because if you compress it, if you compress it,
Like,
it
even
curves.
your own people agree.
Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick, Jackie. Hold on real quick. The reason why it helps is because if you are standing 6 feet on the deck of a ship, then that horizon allegedly is 3 miles away from you. But if you have a ship on the horizon that's not 3 miles away, it's either farther or closer, then that is not Earth curve
You're good
ever.
now.
How about now? Is that
You're good. You're good.
Okay,
I know
so
you
just
love
real quick,
sticks.
hold on. Let me try to do it real quick because I'm going through whatever. If you are on the deck of a ship and you're looking out and you're 6 feet off the water, your horizon allegedly is 6 miles away, or 3 miles away. I'm sorry, 3 miles away. But if the ship on the horizon is farther away than 3 miles or closer than 3 miles, then that's not Earth curve ever.
Chike, are you saying we do see drop? Chike, are you saying we do see drop?
Earth curve?
Chike, are you saying we see drop? Chike, are you saying we see drop from left to right, or is it straight?
No, I say the horizon is not a straight line.
So we see drop from left to right,
No,
or what?
Tell me, Jeremy, if you had a stick, long as a stick can be,
Is it a water
in
stick?
front
What
of
are we
you,
doing here?
in front of you, on the horizon, would it ever be behind you?
Is it a time stick?
I would expect it. I would expect the horizon. If it was a straight stick, I would expect the horizon to match what I'm looking at. The horizon. I would expect for there to be no drop left to right, like the stick.
Well, what do you think will happen to the stick? It will somehow appear behind
gonna
you,
match-
the straight stick.
It's going to match the horizon, the straight horizon, the straight
So
stick.
you-
I'll
you
put it
tell
up.
me-
No,
I'll
he's gonna
match
poke
it,
you with it, and you'll feel it 5 seconds later.
So
Doo-doo on the
you
end.
will turn back. You have a straight stick in front of you, 3 miles, it's very long. You will turn back and you'll see it. That's what you're telling me,
Well,
Jeremy?
if I move, you got to move the stick to.
No,
match where I'm
no,
looking.
no moving the stick. It's a straight stick on the straight horizon.
So you admit the horizon's straight. We're all
So
done.
you
then.
admit the
No,
horizon
I'm
is
not
straight.
admitting
Yeah,
it.
we're all set.
I'm not
You just said the
admitting it.
horizon's straight.
Yeah,
No,
we're all set. The
no,
horizon's
because
straight. Even your own
if you put a
people,
stick on the horizon-
even your own people admit that there's
if
no
you
left to
put
right
a
drop.
stick on
It's
the
a straight
horizon-
line.
If you put a
Chike,
stick
even
on
your
the
own
horizon-
people. Chike, even your
let
own
me finish.
people admit that there's no drop left to right. It's a straight line.
Well, take a stick, put it on the horizon, and see how much of the stick you can see.
You're going
And
against
then
your own
tell me-
people right here.
And then tell me there is no drop, because the
E-
stick
e-
will drop right, it will drop left. You will see a very small part of the stick on the horizon, and the rest of it dropped away.
Even the hardcore globers over at Gem say that it doesn't drop left to right. It's
I don't
straight.
care what hardcore Globers say. I told you what I'm saying. If you put a stick on the horizon,
But you're
you will
saying
see
nonsense,
very
though.
little of it, because
How do you put a
all
stick
the
on the
rest of it
horizon?
will drop.
Okay.
Will drop
Can
away.
we go here real
You
quick?
won't
So
be
let's
able
just
to
say
see it. What
mage,
you'll
right?
see is the horizon in front
Mage
of it.
balloon. The mage balloon. You see curvature there, right, Chicky? Now, he only took one shot. Let's say that's 0 degrees straight in front of him. How come he didn't take 4 shots, like Travis was saying, all cardinal directions? You know, 190 degrees, right behind him 180, and 1 over 270.
Well, it
I mean,
was a
didn't do
bit
that.
hard to steer it. It was a bit hard because whenever it pointed, it
What do you mean a
pointed.
bit hard? The thing was spinning,
They-
bobbing, and weaving. He just picked
well,
out one photo,
who
one
picked?
video clip. That's all he did.
Brandon can pick whatever he wants. The video is there.
As the thing spun around, the curve did not fall below
I'll tell you.
the camera, right?
He wanted it. Actually, he picked few photos.
The only way you can put a stick on the horizon. Hold on, because it's a non-sec. It makes no sense. The only way you can put a stick on the horizon is to put a stick in the ground and walk away from it. But that stick's going to disappear long. You'll never see it on the horizon.
Yes, you will.
can't hover a
No,
ship.
you would.
Well,
Even
yes,
if
you
it was a
will.
telephone.
This is
Well,
all right.
can
Let's not go
You
down
can't put a
this road.
stick
people
on the
at one
horizon.
time.
As
I
you
can
walk
talk
to the
about.
horizon to put it down, the horizon keeps moving.
So phase one, to what you said, he picked few pictures, and the goal was to have the horizon aligned with the middle line, below the middle line, and above the middle line to show the differences. That's why he picked them. Because it wasn't always the
Actually
line.
say, here's
As
science. I'm going
it
to take one
as
at
it
0
kept.
degrees, 190, 180, and 127.
No,
You guys,
no.
Chikey,
The
nobody's
horizon
maybe
line
nobody's broke it
aligned
to you
with
yet,
the
bro.
line
But
on
you
the
have no
main.
more the geometric horizon's gone, Chikey. I don't know if anybody's broke it to you yet, bro.
If
It's
you
all
ever,
apparent.
curve
if
doesn't
you
keep
ever,
falling away from Mage 2. It doesn't keep falling away from Mage 2. So if I were able to get into that picture, right,
how do you know it doesn't fall from
and
H2?
I were to actually get in the
How do you
balloon
know?
and see what that was, if I
How
were to
do you
follow that
know?
curve, it doesn't go below my ass.
How do you
It doesn't
know?
do it. Okay.
How do you know?
So
Because the balloon
No,
itself
he
on the
keep
way up
laughing.
was
How do you
spinning.
know it wasn't
And you
below
could
the
see
main?
it all the way around.
No, you can see it.
Yes,
That's
you
all. You don't
can.
know if
well,
it's
we don't
above
know
you, below
when
you,
we
or
don't know
wherever.
when Mage was horizontal. We don't know when it was. It didn't have a gyro on it. So.
Right.
He's over land anyway, man. He's over land. So who's to say the
Yeah,
land
that makes
couldn't
no
have been?
sense.
He found a spot
Clouds.
that was
That wasn't the
curving
argument.
away, you know?
Yeah.
It
You got
wasn't
the
the
clouds
argument.
in the background. You could have had clouds. Could be huge difference in varying heights of clouds from one side to the other.
The point is, you look off in the distance, it's not curving away from you. That's what I challenge everybody. Screw the left to right. Look off in the distance, and at that height, it's supposed to be about 5 miles of curvature on top of the elevation you're already at. So it's supposed to be like, say, 20, an additional 5 miles, and
Oh, you're
I can make the
roboting,
same
Brian.
claim. Make the same
Yeah,
claim.
I don't know. What do you see there? We see clouds. We
Who
can't
did
see
Mage 2?
anything.
Was that
Right.
what's his nuts? Whoever did Mage 2, right? I can make the same claim that he tilted his camera up 2 degrees. It wasn't actually a level camera.
Nobody made no claim about the degrees the mage was aimed.
Then we can't.
Nobody.
We can't determine if the horizon drops away or not in the footage. That's the point. But in my opinion, it should, because of the limited sight. And I wanted to say this. I know we're having this. This is still a disagreement in the flat Earth about the horizon appearing straight or if it would be curved. My contention is that if there is a limit to your sight, it would appear curved. And here's why. I set up this little demonstration in the park, and it's about 25 feet from me to these sticks with the orange knots on the top of them. Can you guys see those?
The problem I had with that, I remember that.
Hold on. And then there's orange. There's orange down at the bottom tape that's stretched. So it's a huge circle I made around me. So if that's the limit of my vision, I can see the same distance in every direction. If you compare it to this white line, which is obviously a straight line, you do see an apparent curve. So as I get higher, that curve will increase. You see the depth in the middle is increasing the higher I get. So if we do have a circle of sight, then we should see a curved horizon even on a flat plane.
Yeah, the thing I had with that was, I think I told you about this. As we were going up, we weren't expanding the circle to the rate at which you could supposedly see on Earth.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
But I don't think it matters so much, because let's say we did this. Okay, so if I went to the next height and I expanded the circle out, it might just look like this again, right? It would still be curved.
It'll equal out.
But it won't equal out perfectly. It won't equal out perfectly, because just as we were talking earlier, you're not going to get a
it's a
1
function
for
of
1.
distance, right?
You're not going to get a 1 for 1.
It's a function of it's a
Let him
function of
finish,
distance.
man. I like what he's saying here. Hold on.
One more thing, Brandon. There's no replication for the human eye. You know, the camera lens, right? I know, and you have to do it to give us these presentations, right? I get it.
You can see it. You could. I did this with Brandon. You could see it curving
Even
without
with
the camera.
human eye, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, the camera does enhance certain aspects of, let's just say, its field of view.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
distortion
they say
for
the
sure.
best the rectilinear lenses have a little bit of barrel distortion, a smidge.
Yeah.
There's no way
When,
to
when I
eliminate
first set
completely.
this up, I
Can
did
I
it.
ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Hey, Jeremy and Brandon, would that difficulty be solved, like if you had a drone, and as you raised the elevation of the drone, you backed the drone up? Would that create the increase of the circle?
No, because it's got to be a perfect circle around the drone. You'd have to have concentric circles. Bigger
Oh, I thought
circles.
that's what you did. Isn't that what you did? You made a circle around you with those posts?
One circle, yeah.
Were those-
But I stayed in the middle for the whole time. If you had a drone and you backed the drone up instead, the circle would still
Yeah.
say the same circumference, but you would be in a different relative
Okay.
to the outside
I
of it.
see what he's saying. Yeah.
Okay.
I see what he's saying.
I'd like to get the rate of how high you can see, how high you go up, how far you can see on Earth. Then I'd like to match that ratio with our circles. You know what I mean, Brandon? When we
Yeah.
did that,
Yeah.
that's what we should have done.
Well, because it's like that. This is kind of what I was explaining earlier. Down on sea level, you're not going to see as far. You get higher up, you're still looking down. It's not going to be 1 for 1, right? So I would expect the horizon to both drop away and increase its apparent curve the higher you got up.
You're not actually
Yeah.
looking down. You just said you're
Wait
looking
for the
down.
yeah. You're
What
not
you meant
looking
was-
down, but the Felix Baumgartner jump, dude. The horizon they drew, the
You
one I
would be
drew
looking
matched up
down.
perfect.
You
Well,
you are
they
you
did a
you're
comparative
looking
one.
physically,
Barely.
geometrically. You're looking down, and all I'm showing here is the atmosphere that you're looking through. That's all. That's
Okay,
all I'm
so
trying to
just see-
represent.
Oh, you're talking about if you
You might-
stretch tape? Yeah. If you stretch tape, yeah.
Your actual point of view would be
more
more like this. Yeah, you wouldn't be looking down at an angle like this. It'd be kind of like this. But the amount of atmosphere, which is represented by these gray boxes, it decreases the higher you get up. And then there's also a distance function to it. So there's a height function.
Okay,
and
go
a
watch.
distance function.
Go watch. Blue Marble Science's debunked to my Felix Baumgartner, and my line come up straight on the horizon. He picked a different horizon. To me, he picked a fucking mountain, the mountain in the background. But even so, his line to straight out is a fucking cunt hair. I mean, it's about 1 degree down from dead level.
It was the width of a line, Brian.
But that was very clear visibility, though. I agree with you, Brandon. The less visibility we had, the lower it would appear. But on a good clear day, it's
And plus, Felix.
I mean, even their
Felix's
depiction
jump
was,
there when
was
when they
virtually
opened the capsule, Brian, that was all green screen anyway, right? Wasn't like that wasn't actually what Planet New Mexico looks like, you know.
Oh, you don't think that
No, I'm
was?
talking
You
about-
think that
I
was
matched up
partially
the horizon on the ground.
fake there?
I found it in slow motion, man, and I had to play it in slow motion like 10 times, and I found the best depiction of the horizon on the ground, where there wasn't a mountain in the background. You could see just left of the hangar. You could see the ground underneath it. And
Yeah, I saw
put
your
the
ground
horizon-
observation there. Yeah,
I put the
saw
horizon
that.
on the screen, and then I just drew basically I drew a L in text and stretched it on the screen right where the horizon was, and then I played the whole video with the L on the screen with that straight line on the screen, and then it clicked on to 127,000 feet when it leveled out and quit, and it wasn't moving at all for like 20 seconds, and it lined up dead with the horizon. Well, they remake.
You
and
mean
said,
when
no,
they
this is
opened the
horizon.
capsule with the curve or without the curve, right? Which one?
Yeah, the without the curve, the background,
that
the
one.
straight, the rectilinear
Yes.
camera behind his shoulder, the one they probably didn't think much about, or probably wouldn't have put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is even Blue's depiction of where the horizon was barely underneath level.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was
barely.
nitpicking so hard. He was nitpicking bad.
Hey, I'm going to close the show out. It's 8:10, but just wanted to thank the panel for joining, and we had a couple of super chats at the last minute. There's a song from Buster's new song. Cleary DM'd it for me. I'm going to play it after I close Discord, and I'll pop the link in chat for you guys. Thank you, Cleary. And then Earth is Life says, on a flat Earth, is the horizon flat or is it curved? And my answer, I think I just went through, is the apparent horizon if there is a limit to your visibility, would appear, and I don't know when there isn't, would appear to curve.
Yeah, if the ratio, we should redo that one day with the ratio of how high you go up to how far you can see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it won't matter if it looks curved at one height.
The
Let's say
ratio would remain.
we
1
go
to 1.
higher, we increase the circle, it just won't increase this dramatically.
Yeah, but Brandon, if we did it 2 different days, like a cloudier day, not a cloudy day, but a less clear day, then we could at least come to some conclusion. Maybe might be a good idea.
Yeah, no, I
Sure,
agree.
you can-
That'd be cool to do.
I'd like to do it with a ratio, the same ratio that you actually can see
1
as
to
you go
1.
up.
If we can figure out what that is, that might be condition
Yeah, we
dependent,
release
but
it in the
yeah.
same spot twice. I got one balloon. If I get another one, man, if y'all light a fire under my ass, I might get
Unless
to
there's
finally
like a
doing
cloud
this.
bank right in front of you that maybe when you get higher you could see over it. You know, that'd be different. That'd be a different ratio.
Yeah, that's possible too, actually.
Small glare down low.
Glare. We know that
Always-
sunlight will definitely make things appear to curve. Remember that red stick with the table when they're showing the horizon
Oh yeah.
and they scrunch the picture up. You can see when they scrunch the picture up, you can see the glare making those lines appear to curve. We know they're not actually curving, but when the glare is hitting it right at those spots where the glare is, it makes it appear to curve.
You mean this
You
picture
mean
of
the
this
rock-
bendy
the
table
rock-
here?
Rocks under the table started to curve too, and the legs.
Hey, I gotta go,
Yeah.
Brandon, man. Always a pleasure, bro.
You got the one with the whole table? You got the one with the whole table? That
Yeah.
one's hilarious.
The bendy table,
Yeah.
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 Anyway, yeah, thanks
And
guys.
there-
Appreciate it. I'm gonna close the show out now.
Later.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Tomorrow is show number 100, Friday Night Fights. So I don't know what the heck we'll talk about besides arguing about stuff. Maybe we'll go through some of the greatest hits from the last 100 episodes, if I can think of them before now and then. I've got a few in mind. But let me play this song. I'll play us out with this song. Thanks to everybody who super chatted tonight. Appreciate the support. And thanks to the mods. Thanks everyone for watching. Much appreciated. And hopefully you guys can hear this. And we'll end the show with music. We'll see you guys tomorrow. No, I don't think you guys can hear it yet. Hold on, let me try. I'll get this working. I can never remember how I do this. That's the problem. I can never remember how the hell I set this up. Okay, let me see here. I'm trying. Hold on. Might just give you guys the link. We'll see if this works. No, it didn't work. Of course not. All right, guys. I'm sorry. I can't figure it out. I'll have to figure it out, and we can try it again tomorrow. But I will give you the link to the song. Oh, maybe you can hear it.